All right. I'm ready whenever you are.
And we're back.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
2020. Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving. We haven't.
Oh my gosh, we've missed like 14 freaking.
Yes.
Okay.
We've
all
been
right.
gone a long time.
But we are back.
We are back. And if you're watching this or listening to this, we appreciate you giving us another chance.
Yeah, it would take a lot of patience to wait this long on another episode.
I know some people didn't have patience. They were sending me messages. They're like,
what is going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably 3 of the 5 listeners that we have.
Well, and I'll go ahead and just like I did in a little short video that I posted here a while back, I'll take blame because my job has been ruining our podcast life. Straight up. Ruining it. Destroying it. My job.
Very true.
I hate my job. In case you're wondering out there, I don't like my job. I work in the oil field. I don't appreciate it. So
I don't appreciate it either.
I'm working on doing something different. I'm trying to get out of the oil field and get into something that's more scheduled so we can do this. And I want to take this a little more seriously. Try to, make it a little bit better on my end of it. I mean, do what I can. I'm glad to be back though. It feels really good. Whenever we were talking about it this evening, we talked about it yesterday about maybe doing it, and then we didn't really get to talk today. And then all of a sudden you're like, so we podcasting tonight? I was like, yes, we are.
Finally.
And it was like this huge weight lifted off my shoulders where I can finally get back and do one of my most favorite things to do. This is probably in my top 2 or 3 things in life.
Really?
At this particular juncture, yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, I love it, dude. It's fun. I missed it horribly. I didn't realize how much till I showed up and we started setting up. And I was like, dude, I forgot.
Like, why don't we do this more often?
Yes, it's a blast, man.
Oh, yeah, we know why, because your job.
My job sucks. Yeah, it's ruining it.
It really is. Well, I called we were going to have a guest. And
hopefully, yeah. We didn't know for sure.
Right. Hopefully we were. And he said, hey, I can do it. I can do it after Christmas. And I texted him this morning and said, hey, and that's another thing about this podcast is people are like, when are you going to have me on? When are you going to have me on? Some people have said that. And I say, man, I can tell you on the day of, because of your work schedule.
I know, man.
It'd be so great that I could pull up the calendar on my phone or my computer and say, okay, on this date I'm going to have this person.
On the 27th we're going to be
have
open.
a whole year, and have a whole year of people lined up, and we can't do that yet because of your work schedule.
I know.
So
I'm working on it though,
and everybody else has work schedules too. So if I called up somebody and said, hey man, what is it, January? Hey, but we got an opening in April. Can you do it? They're not going to be able to tell me either. Or even a month from now, most people. So people are like, when are you going to have me on? Or when are you going to have so-and-so on? Because there's been people that have like, hey, you got to get this person on the podcast.
Yeah.
And my answer every time is, I don't even really want to contact that person yet until we can start rolling, more frequently.
Yeah. So if people know, I'm trying to get a job at the base right now. So if you know somebody that might be able to hook me up with a decent paying job, it can't be pennies, unfortunately. I wish I could operate on pennies, but it doesn't have to be top of the line. I would like to find some sort of a scheduled job, where I work a set amount of hours, a set amount of days of the week. And because right now my job's crazy, man. I mean, right now I'm every other week on call. So when I'm on call, I have no life. I basically have to sit there with the phone, and I can't even go out of town. You know what I'm saying? I can't go to other places because if the phone goes off, I have to go start that plan up or whatever. So,
we've even been playing games online and right in the middle of a game, and you get a phone and call, and you
get up and go. I have to
just roll out.
Oh, it's part of my job. If
it's understandable.
You're
committed, but and that's great, of course, because then you wouldn't have a job. But
I want to find something that's a little more conducive to this because, like I said, this doesn't make any money, but it's something that I really enjoy. And if I can manage it, and it could be managed better, if I had a different job, then I would be able to manage my time a little bit better and this would definitely have a precedence over most things, not all things. Of course, I've got, a family and those kind of things like that. That's always going to take precedence over everything. But as far as
that goes without saying, right?
well, but I'm just trying to be, I'm not trying to say, well, the podcast is the most important thing I've ever had. It's the podcast and then the birth of my kids. No, that's not what it is. But like I said, I'm working on getting a better setup in life in general that's more conducive to being able to do this, because it's important to me. It really is. I mean, I enjoy it. It's almost therapeutic on this end of it, because it's
Right.
something, we get to kind of lay everything down, come out here and talk about things that we care about, things that we talk to people that they care about. And it's fun to interact that way. It's fun to entertain. It's fun to be entertained. So on some level, you entertain me. I'm not really sure where that comes from, but you do. So
Well, what's not fun is me going back and editing it. And while I'm doing that, I look at myself and hear myself and go, "Oh my gosh!"
you worry about it too much, dude.
I know.
And I don't. It's funny whenever I watch the
You're
podcast.
not having to edit it, and then you're like, "You know
That's
what? I have
true.
the power to take this part out.
Yeah.
I have the power to take this out. I am cutting it out."
Well,
But if you came over, you'd be like, "Dude,
but
maybe."
you never do. You never edit anything
No.
stupid that I
No,
say.
because
You're always like, wait a minute,
because
let's
it's-
stop and make a little video of that dumb thing that he said right
because
there.
it's funny.
It's always
I don't think it's stupid at all. I think it's hilarious.
Well, I mean,
I know that you would think that. You know what I mean?
yes, yeah.
And you would probably say cut that out. And it's the same, I'm sure, with me is you're like, dude, that was kind of dumb or whatever, but it was very funny. You got to leave it in there. And I'm of course, I've posted videos of myself in the shower. I've posted videos of myself on a freaking bull. That
was good, yeah.
And it just.
Well, we've talked about it before, and I've talked about it whenever Travis was on here, and he's real bad about it. When you're creating something, and that's what we're doing here. We're creating content as we're sitting here talking.
Absolutely.
You go back and look at it, and it seems like you're on point at the time. If it's flowing like that. Travis the same way. Whenever he's writing songs and recording them and those kind of things like that, I'll go over and listen to something. And I'll be like, dude,
yeah, but that's the difference.
this is awesome.
Is right now I've already thought I've messed up 4 or 5 times.
Oh.
That I've just talked too much already.
Oh, I never think that, obviously. You know what I mean? I'm always like, I'm just chopping it out of there fast as I can.
Why'd you say that? And I didn't get to finish the bull. I rode the bull, and, it bucked me off, and I kind of bucked me off, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, if you've seen the bull video, awesome.
You didn't
If not,
try very hard. That was my thing. I was looking for some real effort.
I didn't have a bull rope.
Were you just sitting on his back?
Yes.
Well, no wonder, dude. That would
didn't
have been
have a
even
saddle.
That would have been even better. They don't put saddles on bulls.
I
right?
know that.
Well, I'm just
That's
saying.
what it's funny.
I mean, I would have liked for you to
What else
like,
you
I
gonna
don't know,
do?
hold on with your legs. I don't know.
Well,
what
there
you
was
would
a
do.
rope around it.
Well, then what's
It
the
wasn't
problem?
a bull rope.
Yeah, but if it's something to hang on to, you should have hung on to
It
it.
wasn't much to hang on to. You know what I mean?
There's not in, what I mean, in bull riding life, there's not a whole lot to
So
hang on to.
anyways, what I'm saying is I don't mind looking stupid on the interwebs. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's what Dustin used to call it, the interwebs. But
Well, I don't have
mind
any
looking-
choice.
I don't mind looking dumb on there. Obviously, I posted a picture of or a video of myself in the shower and getting bucked off.
Ugh.
A lot of stuff I post is
Weird hair.
it's just for to be funny. I'm not real serious on.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's the
Facebook.
thing about you were talking about going back and
Or-
editing things out that you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
and it's
I'm like, you didn't say that word right, or
Right.
you
It
or
comes-
you kind of fumbled a little bit, or you're blah, 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 so let's cut this part out, and I can.
yeah. But see, it sucks to me because
But I wish
what's
I could
cool
just say-
about it is the organic part of it.
I know. So I want to, and I've not cut out a lot. Don't get
Oh,
me wrong.
I'm here. So when I see the finished product, I'm like, wait a minute,
He said this.
Yeah, I remember him. Wait,
Yeah.
that conversation's not even finished. You know what I mean? But half the time, whenever you cut it out,
Yeah.
you can tell because it's like
I need to
blah
stop
blah
it,
blah
don't
blah blah.
Just put it
and
out
then
there.
nothing. Yes,
Just put it out there.
that's why I want to do a live one. I didn't at first when somebody brought that
Yeah,
up.
when you
I
were
was
saying
like,
that-
oh,
Because you had brought up that we should do a live podcast at the Okie, during or before, not during, of course, but before or after the dead weight.
Yeah, they just played there the New Year's Eve. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Yep.
We should have. I mean, I say we should have. You brought up some good points about it being noisy and that kind of thing. Of course, I brought up some really good points about how Blackline Insurance could have negated some of those things by renting out the VIP lounge and us doing it in the VIP lounge before the concert even started.
Yeah, but is the VIP lounge, is it got its own room?
Yes,
or
it's
is it
upstairs.
Just upstairs?
It's like upstairs. There's like a balcony and stuff.
Yeah, but is a lot of sound going to get up there?
I don't know.
And
I mean,
mess
that
up?
would have been cool to have in the background. You know what I mean? It'd been like shooting one at a casino or something like that. I mean, there's going to be some background noise, but what we're speaking into the mic is going to pick up more than the ambient sound.
Well, you didn't say much after that. After I said that.
Well,
so
I know because you were getting discouraged, and I know how you are. Once you really get your mind like that's not going to work, you're like, meh, meh, meh.
Well, we had plans otherwise too.
I know that's another reason why I dropped it. You didn't say that, but I could tell you were like, "Ooh, do you really want to do that?"
But even they had said that they may want to go to the Yoki that night.
I promise you, 100%. If you just said, "Hey, we were wanting to go ahead and shoot an episode of I Don't Drink Coffee podcast at this deal," would it be a big deal if we missed? They'd have been like, "Oh my God, we're going to it." They'd have went.
Probably.
You know what I'm
so.
saying? You would have disrupted everything, and everybody would have showed up. And we'd have been high fiving and having a great night. But instead, I stayed home and watched. What movie did I watch?
I ruined it all.
Some movie. I don't know. Yeah, because you're always afraid, Brand. Let's do it.
I was just afraid it would sound terrible.
So what? It still had us on there. We've still been talking and laughing. We could have had the dead weight on there. That was one of the things I wanted to do was interview the dead weight. Those guys talk to them about. I wanted to ask some questions like, "Are you nervous? Do you get nervous?" Because they're.
It's been a while since they did a show. This was their first show.
Yeah.
In a long time, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Have we talked about us doing the video with them? They
They
recently released a video on their new song.
that we shot footage and you edited and made.
But we don't have
For
to say
them?
that.
But, I mean, you need to give some props, dude. You did a
but
really good job.
You were there and you helped out.
Yeah, but all my footage was jacked. You know what I'm saying? I never did get to give you any of the stuff that I did. So
well,
that was my fault. That's me. That's on me, dude. I'm not saying nothing negative.
I couldn't get the. Yeah, but I wanted to throw you under the bus real quick.
Yeah,
when
I know.
they showed up, you had your phone up and down.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is
Vertical.
where this is going. Okay, I knew we
Well,
were
it
headed
was-
somewhere.
No.
That's why I kept
Oh.
driving at it. I'm like,
Well,
let's just get to the point. I knew what you were wanting to do. I didn't know
No.
that's what you were wanting to do, but I knew there was something.
I'm just saying,
in
I
there.
looked over the
Here I am
dead
trying to
weight-
give you credit.
the
You're
dead
trying to give
weight-
me shit.
I know it. The dead weight contacted us. It was like, hey, we're gonna do a video on our new song. We're working on a new album, and they contacted us and said, hey, would you guys be interested in coming out and producing it and putting it together and all that? And of course, so we jumped on it.
It was cool too. Yeah, it was
very
really neat experience. And I've played music with most all of those guys for years. So
And a couple
I knew
of them I
them.
graduated with. So
Yeah.
and of course Travis I went to school with. He was older than me, but a couple of the guys I graduated with, grew up with. One of them I haven't seen in a very long time. I don't know why, because he lives in Warburton. I live here, and it's only like 30 miles. But anyways, so we got to hang out all day long and all night long, and it was
fun, man.
it was very fun. I
and
had a good time.
that's what I mean about
But I look over and you got your phone. We're starting to do our footage. I'm going to bring it up again. I look over and LJ's got his phone, vertical, up and down. And I was like, dude. But you may have been taking pictures, but I just started giving you crap about it anyway.
I was working for I was planning on doing something, maybe some black and white or some old looking footage. Not really. I didn't have any plan. I was just doing stuff. But
well, I was just letting you know that we couldn't put both formats on one video. You can, but it would not be good.
yeah. Man, I've still got while you're sitting here talking about it, we both shot some pretty good stuff of them playing outside.
I'm still working on that video.
We need to push that to them and kind of kick some of that stuff out there and let people hear it, because it was good. There was some really good music played that day.
Yes. And we used this recorder that we just got, and it worked excellent.
Did it? See, I haven't heard that
Yes.
part. All I heard was what was on my phone from
Yeah, it
us
was
walking
great.
around videoing. And of course, we're in each other's shots because we're sitting there like circling them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's okay.
We're all in
I
there.
think it'll be okay. I think.
Well, I mean, it's just
But
and the
from what I
music's
remember,
good. So.
I haven't touched it in a while because I've been so busy. But from what I remember, I need to start back on that video and get it.
Yeah,
it
there's
put
some good
together.
stuff there.
From what I remember, the audio was really good.
Good. I'm glad, man, because there was some. There times like that. It's funny. It's almost impromptu. Like it wasn't planned. I mean, it was planned like, hey, let's sit down out here and play a song, but it wasn't ahead of time like, hey, we'll shoot some stuff inside, we'll go outside and sit down and play a song. That was all just kind of just like brought up
Spur of
right
the moment.
then,
Yeah.
and those things are usually cool, just like that turned out to be. I mean, that was a fun time, and that's why I was looking forward to interviewing those guys at the beginning of the show. Probably help bring a few nerves down too for them to talk about it, because I mean, I know from playing places live that it is nerve-wracking. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's like you look forward to it, right? You get a setup. Okay, yes, you're playing. You're doing this. This is your time frame. Da da da. And then right before you play, for me anyway, I get this almost. It's a horrible stage fright, like gripping, like terrifying stage fright, and it is. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to bomb. I'm going to forget the words. My voice is going to break, da-da-da-da. And those things have happened to me. Once I start playing, I forget the words, forget the chords. I've done all those things. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you think you're going to do bad, you do bad. You know what I'm saying? If I could just get up there and relax. And those guys are way better about just getting up there and doing their thing. They're way better musicians than me, for one thing. And so that carries them. What I mean? They know they can do what they're, when you're practiced at something, you don't have to worry about it so much. But I always freak out, I mean, if I'm ever the center, I mean, if I'm just playing along or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I know this song. But if everybody's like, okay, now you're singing one, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. But now, I was looking forward to it, but I mean,
So I ruined it.
No. I'm not saying it's still something we can do. They're playing again sometime pretty soon. I can't remember the exact date right now.
I don't even know how much it is to rent out the VIP room at the Okie.
I don't know either. It was going to be a good way. I was going to I was thinking, dude, that would be like a write-off. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
What? Yeah, you're absolutely right.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that would have went along great with it. Great advertising. This episode is definitely brought to you by Blackline Insurance Group. And you could have been fancy. I'd have been like, oh, well, tonight we're here because Blackline Insurance rented out the VIP lounge. Holy moly, we're a big deal. Da, 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 da.
You had it all lined up.
Yes, but we're nothing now. We're just here. We did nothing. I watched movies on New Year's and made my
did?
wife mad because I fell asleep. Yeah.
You made her mad because you fell asleep.
Yes. I did. I felt we were watching
That's
the show.
what she gets for marrying an old man.
Well, we were watching Parks and Rec, and I liked that show, but I couldn't go to sleep. I had to pick up my son after midnight because he went to a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
And so right after midnight, I was going to pick him up. So it's not like I could go to bed.
I was going to say, I came home and after a while.
Yeah, I got online. That's one of the reasons she got pissed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she's like, you couldn't stay awake whenever we were watching the show. Would
But
you
now
stay
you-
up and play video games? It's like, well, nothing personal. I was just, we were sitting there watching the show, and we weren't talking.
Right.
Nobody's interacting with anybody. I was sitting there fading off. And whenever I get online, I get mad because I suck at it. And
Yeah, but once
it
you
keeps
wake
me
up
going.
from fading off, it's like,
Well, I had to get up and get around to go get him.
Right,
So, of course,
so you're
once you
awake.
do that, it's like,
yeah.
I'm back out doing my thing or whatever. So,
I read this is the way it should be. Fist length. You should be this far away from it.
with nice microphones, yeah. But with cheap microphones, you got to get close, bruh. Yeah.
Like
That way we
this?
can hear you, yes.
Well, I mean, it's not a cheap microphone. It was like $100.
No, it was not.
Yes,
I think
it
it was like
was.
$60 or $80. That's not $100.
It was like 89, I think.
That's not $100. If you're gonna say like $100, needs to be over $100.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? If it's under $100, then it's like, well, this thing was under $100.
I think the stand was included though. I can't remember.
Yes,
It's a good mic though.
same thing as that.
I read a lot of reviews and I mean, I'm not going to buy anything.
Did the review say for a cheap ass
Except-
mic, it's not bad?
No, it said actually it's a pretty good mic. for
I'm just playing, dude.
being a.
It sounds fine. I'm just giving
I'm
you
gonna
crap.
I'm gonna get that $400 one next.
Do it to it. I'm gonna use this one.
Well, yeah, because that one's good.
I bought it a long time ago.
But mine, I don't know. I like it. It's okay.
It works fine, dude.
I
I'm
just
just
think
kidding.
I know. No. It's come on.
I'll tell you what I do like, and I watch. Of course, you and I both do this. We'll watch other podcasts, kind of figure out, things that we could do differently.
Mm-hmm.
Would you stop doing that, or I'm gonna start making jokes? Okay.
Well, my bad.
Anyway, you maybe like you watch Joe Rogan and them, and these guys are moving the mics around all over the place. If they don't like, they're sitting there, they're moving around. That I'm kind of jealous of because we're like, you're like, oh God, please don't
Right.
fall over or
Yeah.
whatever, So
Well, mine did. Remember? I mean, I can move.
did it fall during?
I can move it around.
Yeah, but it makes that big hollow sound that it's making when them springs
The
are
springs,
moving around.
yes, it does.
But anyway, it's not bad, dude. For like I said, Joe Rogan's probably making $20,000 an episode or some crazy shit. You know what I mean?
Probably making more than that. I've been trying to get you to come sell insurance with me.
I know, man, but I'm not no salesman. You know what I mean?
What are you then?
I'm just a dude.
And so am I.
Yeah, but
I'm not I don't do the hard sales, man. I really don't. You don't do what the people do that call you and try to sell you stuff. You don't do it that way. You do it your own way, an authentic way. Just be you.
Yeah, but I'm not fancy. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you don't
I
gotta
can't-
be fancy.
I can't.
You don't have to be fancy. Am I fancy?
Well, I mean, you have a way of being that way if you want to. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, dude. Like, okay, I'm just regular. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Me too.
like if I called somebody up and tried
And
to sell them
that's what
something,
makes people want to buy from you.
yeah,
Because you're just a regular guy and you are authentic and you're not going to try to blow smoke. You're just a regular guy.
yeah, I would probably be almost maybe too honest with them. I'd be like,
Right.
listen, man,
And
they
that's
want me to sell you
perfectly-
this right here, but you don't want that. So let me tell you what is good
Well,
about this.
That would mean that you wouldn't make it at a dealership, selling
Right.
cars.
Yeah, that's why I've never
'Cause
tried
I
to
could
do it.
Sell the hell out of cars.
Yeah, I won't do it.
But I don't want to lie to people, and I don't want to get the elderly in a position of buying a new car when they don't really need to be, and that's what dealerships do. A lot
yeah.
of them do. They like to make phone calls to the elderly people because they'll, anyways, don't get me started.
In my mind, if you're in sales and you're truly in sales, like that's what you do, then you can't really have. It's hard, I would say. I don't want to misspeak here, but I mean, to some degree, you can't worry about people's situations.
Well,
I mean, you're just trying to sell a product,
as
and it
far
ain't
as-
your problem if they
right.
can or can't afford it.
As far as cars go, yes.
But
in an insurance, it's totally different. It's totally different because they need insurance, first of all.
well, yeah,
Second
but I mean,
of all,
well, that's obvious. You're supplying a need. I mean, that's there automatically. But I'm just talking about when
and you're
it comes
helping
to
them
the
alleviate any problem they're going to have in the future. So, if they it's kind of hard to really explain it, but like if you call me up for a quote and you're like, hey, I need a quote. I'm like, hey, I'll do the quote. And then you're like, well, I'm rocking the state minimum liability right now. I'm going to try to steer you away from that because down the road, if you get in a wreck and it's, you're at fault and you total out a new Escalade, well, guess what? You're going to get sued.
yeah.
And your insurance is not going to cover the full price of the Escalade. So I look at it from that perspective. And I explain it to them. Hey, if you want the state minimum, okay. But it's just a few dollars more, and it's going to alleviate a huge headache if anything bad were to ever happen.
Well, man, and in your towards what you're saying, even whenever, and you don't have my insurance right now, if I'm being 100% honest, and it's just a lack of time to do it or whatever, or remembering to do it. It's not a personal thing, but when you've had my insurance in the past, because you did, That was one of the things that always drew me, not just because we were friends either. I mean, I did give you the shot because we were friends,
Right.
but I mean, once you were doing my insurance, I had a claim, and it went really smoothly. What I liked about it was you always knew what you were talking about whenever I asked you about something, even when we were joking around and being dumb and all this crap we do like what we do on here. But whenever I would ask you something about the insurance, you would know exactly whatever I ask you. And if you didn't know, you'd say, I got to find out and I will get back with you. You didn't wait. You always found out and you knew pretty quickly. My claim went through quickly. Everything went like it was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? And that part of it, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, and of course you got away from it right after that. That's why I changed. I
Right.
tried to stay with the people you were with, and they sucked. So I moved my insurance,
Right.
and sorry, not calling anybody out. Sorry, but anyways, uh, I didn't. I just didn't like the service that I was getting, and it's not that it wasn't you, not that it wasn't personal, not that it wasn't you. That's not what I mean.
Right.
It was just it was very impersonal, and what I mean by that is they were just like, why are you in my office? You know, that's the feeling that I got. So I was like, I can go plenty of places to get insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like getting a girlfriend that's mean to you. You're like, geez, that's easy. Finding a girl to be mean to me is easy, you know? So,
Well, that's how I approach it. So when you think that you have to be a certain way in insurance, you don't.
yeah, but I never know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I mean? The people would
I'm
be
not
like,
asking you to start tomorrow, you know.
well,
But that's what I'm saying.
but
I mean,
I'll be forget, you know what I
I've
mean? I'll be
recent-
like,
no,
what
but
is,
that,
what
but that,
is liability? I don't remember.
but
You know
that's
what
the
I mean?
beauty about it. If you don't know, you don't lie to them, and you always tell them, "Hey, I'm going to get you an answer."
Yeah.
You know, and kind of goes back to me saying I don't hard sell. Is like I don't have your insurance, and you
Well,
and
that's
I are
not,
really close.
but it's not
So it's not
on
like
purpose. I just don't think
no.
about it.
I'm saying I don't call you up and say, "Hey, man, I really need to quote your insurance,"
Right.
and because I know I'm going to be,
Hey,
I'm
we're
gonna,
friends. Why don't I have your
exactly.
insurance? Yeah.
I don't approach it that way. Would I love to quote your insurance? Yes, of course. I would love to quote everybody's insurance.
Do you bring it up anytime we have insurance? Yes, every time. Anytime somebody said, he goes,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but I don't
yeah.
have your
Right.
insurance. So,
To you, yes.
I can't save you money because I don't have your insurance. I'm like,
But if anybody, I mean, I've had people lately ask me questions about insurance that I don't have their insurance.
yeah.
And they just ask, hey, they know I'm in the insurance, so they ask me, and I don't have.
Like nurses or doctors or carpenters or whatever, you're going
Right.
to get questions
Well,
about what
yeah,
you do.
but I'm sure they get tired of it. But I don't get tired of it. And if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know, or let me figure that out for you,
Yeah.
And I've just started doing Medicare, in the last several months.
I can only imagine how confusing that would be.
Right. Especially coming from, the property and casualty side, me doing cars and autos and homes and businesses.
Well,
and stuff like that.
Medicare in and of itself is elaborate. It's
Right.
this huge, drawn out rules and regulations, and just what little bit I've been around it in the medical field, which was limited, I'll give you. But I mean, it seems like there's just this incredible amount of ins and outs as far as what they can do, what you can't do, what's illegal, what's what you qualify for, what you don't. I can't imagine trying to keep track of all of it. So
Like, somebody asked me today, hey, what's uninsured motorist? And of course I know, so I told them, but I'm sure they've been
it
given.
sounds like they're
wrong-
like checking you out to see if you know.
Well,
Be like,
I was doing a quote.
I know what it is. Do you know what
I was
it
doing a
is?
quote for them, and they were
Oh, yeah.
wondering if they needed uninsured motorist or not.
Oh,
And-
yeah, I could see how that would be a common question.
Right.
Heck
So
yeah.
I just explained it to them what it was, and a lot of people see that extra charge on there, and they're like, man, if I just get to do away with that, then. But I'm going to tell you what it is. You make the decision if you want it or not, and that's kind of how I approach the whole thing.
Well, let me ask you a question about
And
insurance
we've
real
talked
quick.
a lot about insurance, and I did not really.
I've got a
anticipate-
question about it right now.
Okay.
Whenever do I need device protection on my cell phone? That's phone insurance. So tell me about that.
Do you need it?
Yeah.
Um,
See, because it's starting to feel like those protection plans you buy from Walmart. You know what I'm saying? It's almost getting to a point to where, because there's a deductible. So like, oh sure, you could, you can replace your $1,000 phone for $100 or whatever.
right.
But how often anymore are you breaking? Nobody. It's rare to me anymore for people to like. They might drop it in the lake or something like that, but people are a lot more careful with their phones than they used to be. Or either that, or they're making them tougher, and
I think
people
both.
are more terrified of losing in them than they
Because they're
used to
paying
be.
$1,000 for them now.
Well,
You know?
and all your information's on it. You don't want to have
Right.
to renew. That's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I'm around, like even a toilet, I'm like, hey, I'm putting this somewhere in a zip up pocket where it can't fall in the toilet because I don't want to have to try to recover my data, even though it's easier than it's ever been. But whenever I think about that, the extra charge for it, I'm like, do I really need it?
How much was it? The device protection.
Well, this
protection
was
plan?
on a really cheap plan that I bought for my work, or that the work my job bought me, and it's $12 a month, $13 a month.
So okay.
But and that's on a phone that may never get broken. And it was a $40 phone to begin with. Now I don't know what it would cost to replace it, but it was like one of those pay as you go deals from US Cellular. It was like $40 for the phone. It's a smartphone too, by the way. I'm not a great smartphone or anything, and I
Well, I
have no
wouldn't.
internet on it or anything.
If it's a cheap phone like that, I wouldn't think you would need the protection plan on it.
Well, I was always afraid the screen was going to get broken because I thought there was going to be three of us that shared it. Like when you're on call, you have this phone for
yeah.
on call, and that's all went away. So now it's basically just mine. You know what I mean? But they didn't tell me not to keep it because I have to go where I have bad service on my personal phone sometimes and my other work phone. So I have three phones, by the way. And I was just kind of thinking, not that I'm always trying to save the company money, but at the same time, I'm like, on my personal phone, do I really need device protection? It's costing me an arm and a leg because we have 5 lines.
It depends on if you want to. Is it $12 to cover all 5 phones?
Now that I don't know what we're paying on our personal ones. I haven't even looked. I don't even know. But it's something I thought about taking off because I'm sure it's not cheap because we're doing it for 5 phones. And the only phone we've ever replaced in how long have we been at this? 2 or 3 years has been mine. I broke one phone. I did. And it was in my back pocket and I fell backwards off of something right onto my ass and horseshoed my iPhone to the shape of my ass. That really happened. And it still worked. That's what's trippy about it. I could use Siri. Oh God, please tell me I didn't turn my phone on. And I could call people still. Even though it was broke, like in a U shape. And I was like, oh hey, da 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 da. But it shattered the screen.
So did you use the device protection plan on that?
Yeah, I had to pay $100 deductible and got another phone. And at that time, it was whenever the iPhone X or 10 or whatever came out.
In the past, I've paid for them. Now, with my current phone that's videoing this podcast right now, that I paid, I think, close to $1,100 cash money for it because I wanted an unlocked phone. I wanted it to use it on any carrier. And mainly because Verizon, when I tried to get my phone ported over to a Verizon, because I hate AT&T's customer service.
But they are who you're going through right now.
They are who I'm with, AT&T. But Verizon was like, we're not adding any more plans in your area, and actually they were kicking people off the plans in this area. So, long story short, I paid $1,100 cash for the phone. And I was like, and they were going, what, you want to add the protection plan too, for whatever, however much it was a month?
This is my phone.
I said, I already paid $1,100 for this thing. I ain't doing it.
But you're careful with your phone.
Very careful.
That's something that, it can't really.
But
you're different than a lot of people, dude.
Right. And it is good to be careful. And I don't want to say, oh, well, I'm careful, so I don't need it, because that's not entirely the truth all the time. You know what I mean? It's not going to, you can be careful, but you can also be careful and accidents happen.
Yeah, like when I fell off that thing and I had that phone in my back pocket. I did not plan.
Rambled right there.
Well, I didn't.
No, you didn't plan for that. And it's the same way with any insurance.
Real bad.
You can self-insure if you want to on your cars. I think you got to put up $75,000 cash or something. You got to give the state, I think it's $75,000 if you want to self-insure. So if you're like some billionaire or millionaire and you don't want to pay for insurance, you can self-insure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would you do that though?
Well,
I guess people probably do, but
they're just like, hey,
I'm not no schlub off the street. I don't want to have to pay this.
They got other things in place too, like umbrella policies or or something.
I
Some
always
sort of-
assumed they would run
some
it
sort
through
of coverage.
like through their company or something like that. If they were like if they owned a business or something like that, they would just
It's
cover
possible.
all their crap or whatever.
I'm not real sure exactly what the mega rich. I would love to find out. I would love somebody mega rich to call me up and say, hey, I've got a couple mansions I need you to quote. And
Or somebody mega rich come on the pocket. And I don't
Podcast.
want to speak on past guests on what their financial situation is. Not to say anybody's been,
poor.
not
Right. I get what
not
you're saying.
well off or
But
whatever.
somebody
Just-
that's well known, that's well
yeah, a
off.
big time millionaire that everybody knows is like really rich. It'd be cool to talk to them just about how they live and how they got there and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't even care if their story's already known. I'd like to talk to them. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, there's always somebody to tell the story. I mean, even, I mean, these actors and actresses, and we've been watching their movies for years and hearing stories or whatever, blah 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 blah. And they go on Howard Stern and they're telling
the story
stories
again.
that you've never heard,
Yeah.
or telling the same story again. But telling a story you've never heard, and you're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
That's like Warren
Thought I knew
Buffett.
everything about this guy.
Have you ever listened to Warren Buffett talk about
But
his?
how many
his
stories
story?
do you and I have that nobody knows
God, there's plenty of stories that I'm not going to release into the public.
yet?
That would be very funny. That
Really?
yes, they would never have to work again if I would just
I know a couple of them.
come off of them. But
I
I'm
know
not.
one of them for sure.
It'd have to be pretty bad because if I'm gonna tell a story about shit in my pants, then it had to be something big.
Right. Why do you got to bring that up again? I was trying to forget that. Man.
You know how many people told me I can relate to that story?
I know. I had
A
people.
bunch
I had
of
people
them.
messaging me and telling me that they could relate to it. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, I can't relate to it. So message LJ. Tell him about it. Don't
They
tell
did
me.
too.
'Cause
They
I
did.
don't-
Some people did.
I don't know nothing about it, man.
Yeah, man, it happens to people. I mean, it's
Well, it's the same. It's the same. Let's go back to insurance.
oh Lord,
It's the same thing.
that's
man.
what this episode is now.
You didn't expect it to.
Brought to you and
happen.
completely consumed by Blackline Insurance. No, I'm just
Blackline
kidding.
Insurance Group.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Visit blacklineinsurancegroup.com.
My bad. It's a selfless plug there.
I know, but what
Or
I'm saying
selfish
is,
plug. My
you didn't anticipate that happening. You
No.
would have probably said 10 minutes before that would never happen to you, right?
Me shitting my pants?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've done it before. That's not the first time. That's not even the first time I've shit my pants. Are you kidding me? That's just the funniest time. You know what I'm saying? It was not the only time. That's one of probably, let me think here. I can think of 2 other times for sure, but they're just not as good. Not as good as stories. Same thing, though. When you shit in your pants, it's shit in your pants. I don't care how you got there. It is what it is, but I've done it. Yes, dude. Yes. I've had my gallbladder taken out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Well-
saying it gives you a license to shit your pants like it's just something you should do, but I'm just saying, and that it's okay. I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating shitting one's pants, but I am saying that it kind of goes with the territory. And people out there who are listening or can see this that's had their gallbladder out are sitting there going, damn straight it is. Unfortunately. I have relative control,
So
but
every time you've done it was after the gallbladder was taken out?
no, once before. But I was real sick, like deathly ill.
Well,
Yeah.
that can, I mean,
Dude, I was so sick. Oh my God. And it was in Haleyville. Okay. I'll keep it real brief and then I'll go on because I don't want to
say
start telling.
brief.
I didn't even think about that. But basically I was at work and I was working in the oil fields when I worked for Chesapeake. I got real sick one morning and I was going to go back home. I lived in Wilburton and I'd been in McAllister working. It was still pretty early in the day. I got real sick for like one day, like some kind of a bug. Driving home, I get to Haleyville and I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up my seat. So I pull over on the side of the road, almost right in front of where the cafe is there in Haleyville now. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, I pull over pretty close to that, but I'm going towards Hartshorn. I get out of the truck, walk around the front of the truck to throw up. Okay, I got to throw up. It's past, being able to wait. But when I do, the pressure of throwing up, I go out both ends, right on the side of the highway in front of everybody. I was
What?
right on the side of the highway. Cars driving by. This is 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, dude, I load them down and I don't have any control because once you start throwing up, I don't know if you've ever thrown up in your life or not. Obviously, you haven't shit your pants. But if you've ever thrown up, then you know that once you're spewing, what are you going to do? You got to keep spewing. So I'm just going and going and going until it's over. And I amble my little sick butt back over to my truck, drive all the way from Haleyville to my house, get out and go, take care of everything. But yeah, that was before I had gallbladder surgery. That was just a real bad stomach bug that I had one time. It wasn't fun. Don't appreciate it at all. It's not a fond memory, but it's a true one. So I don't see how you've lived your whole life and this has never happened to you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, I guess it goes back to breaking phones.
You're real careful?
I guess so.
How are you real careful not to shit your pants? I mean, I could see where you could try not to. Everybody's trying not to ever since you were potty trained. But, I mean, there's these times that what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
just don't do it.
You mean you've never been driving down the road and been like, oh my God, and try to pull over and you just couldn't get there?
No.
You're fortunate.
I guess so.
Very blessed man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's a rarity. And you found that out. See, the funny thing is when I was telling that story the first time, you thought,
I didn't know that about
this guy is a freak. This guy's shit his pants. Nobody shits their pants. And then you found out that everybody does it from time to time. Not often.
Hold up. I still think you're a freak for doing it. Second of all,
it's not like I chose it.
These other people that have done it as well, they're no different than you are. They're in the same boat.
Right.
They're freaks.
Freaks. You can't help it. It's not like
you said I thought you were a freak, so I'm just
well, you were looking at it like that, but I'm saying like it's not like I go,
I know
you know
didn't
what,
do
man?
It on purpose.
I've tried hard. I'm tired of trying. You know what I mean? It's not something you give up on.
It sounds to me like it.
No, you can't help it, dude. But I'll be honest with you. Once you're going, you're like, all right, that's not so bad now. Now I can stop trying so hard. I'm not saying it's okay, and I'm not saying I'm glad, but it's like, oh, okay, this is my life now for a little bit, I mean, that's why I don't want to go to nursing home. You know what I mean? That's because that is your life once you get there,
Well, you're already used to it, sounds like.
I'm not as used to it as those people get. And I'm not even ripping on people that are in the nursing home. I don't want to take that, that road or anything, but I'm just saying, I've seen people that could get up and go that don't because they're like, they're going to clean me up anyway. Seen it. Yeah. You can see it on their face. They're just like this. And they're just doing it. You know what I mean? You're like,
are you serious?
Yes. You're like, I just saw you
gosh.
eating lunch a few minutes ago. You walked yourself down there and then now I got to clean you up. Yeah. Believe it or not, it happens. I've seen it. Okay. Anyways, can we go? We got Let's insurance out of the way. We got shit in our pants out of the way. And now we're moving on to Texas shooting. You want to do that?
Yeah. I mean, if that's what you wanted to go into.
Well, I mean, I was just kind of wanting to talk about, one of the things that just happened recently is just, the last few days was the shooting in a church in Texas down by Fort Worth, which is not far from here, to about 3 hours.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure. I know what the town was called.
I don't remember the name of it now. It has a strange name to it. It doesn't sound like a town name to me. It's like almost like a parish name in Louisiana sound to it. I can't remember what it's called, but
I'm typing with one hand.
Right. Well, and while you're looking it up, I just was going to say, the premise of it, and I'm sure everybody that's listening already knows what it is, but this guy shows up to a church and he's planning on doing a mass shooting in this church in Texas. And, as he gets up and he does kill a couple of people because he gets up and shoots immediately. But then they've got a small, like, inner church security team or whatever, some guys that are, if we have a problem, we're going to react with these guys or whatever. And this guy was very, come to find out, really well trained with firearms and a long history with them and all that, law enforcement and all these things, thankful for all those things. And he takes this dude out quick. He does get two people. I'm sorry. And that's horrible, man. And the video is disturbing. I ended up going ahead and watching it after I talked to you and told you I wasn't going to. I watched it, and I really honestly wish I hadn't. Maybe it's good that I did, but the first shots that ring out and the sound of the people, dude, the sound that all those people inside that place make whenever those shots go off is the worst part of it. You know what I mean? And watching this guy, and the guy that's trained, he shoots the shooter and kills him. One shot from, what was it, 50 feet? One shot takes the dude down, kills him. One shot. And it's awesome in that respect. But to me, the disturbing part, the horrible part of it is just the sound that everybody makes. They're horrified. This guy gets up and shoots 2 people, and it's so loud. They're live streaming the service, so they've got it all on video, of course. And everybody knows this, but I'm just kind of recapping or whatever.
Right.
But the sound when those shots, they're so loud. And I know dude, I've been around guns my entire life. I've shot guns inside of enclosures, and it's loud. But in that video, it's like
they sound different.
It's so,
because you know what those guns are doing,
right? And yeah, that's what it is. That's got to be what it is.
Just terrifying.
Yeah, man.
Chilling.
Yeah, that was the thing that I took away from it. And watching the guy get dusted by the trained guy, I'm like, it's almost like in a movie where you're like, hell yeah, But I mean, I hate it that he got an opportunity to take people's lives before his. You know what I mean? I just, that sucks to me. But it could have been, man, if it hadn't been for that guy. I mean, think about, how many times we've heard about it being worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just, and these unimaginable casualties. And this, to me, is stark proof. You can say what you want to, and it seems like the media is almost like ignoring the fact that this guy, and you can say single-handedly, because, he's the one that did the shooting, saved, who knows how many ever bullets this dude had, how much ever carnage he was going to inflict. He basically stopped at his, what does it last, 4 or 5 seconds?
6 seconds.
6 seconds. This guy kills 2 people in 6 seconds. And you watch the guy react in the video. I like how this guy's like immediately on him. You know what I'm saying? As soon as this guy goes to doing what he's doing, this guy goes to work. He gets his gun out.
He's 71 years old. Jack Wilson.
Jack Wilson.
Jack Wilson is the guy that took him down. He's the hero.
Yeah, man. What else can you say? Anybody that's ever watched the video knows this guy was on.
I don't like to watch videos that. Anyways, Jack Wilson, 71 years old. 6 seconds from the time it started. And, I usually don't watch those videos, but I did. Someone sent it to me on Facebook Messenger, so I went ahead and watched it.
Well, that's what, both my parents sent it to me, because they're, very much gun advocates, and I am too. I'm for it. But I hadn't watched it, and then whenever you said something about it, yeah, I know when you initially said it to me, I was like, I'm not going to watch that. I don't really see anything to learn. But the more I thought about it, I'm sitting here, I had an opinion on something that I hadn't seen. So how could I say, so I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and watch this. And I knew it was going to be disturbing, but I wasn't really prepared, for the sound of it. It's just like, it was just horrible. And the older I get, the more, life is precious to me on some level, I don't want to get too weird about it. I'm just saying, like, all life is on some level. I tend to think about it more than whenever I was younger, and I'm not anti hunting or not anti anything like that. I'm just saying, it affects me more on a deeper level, death no matter what it is, than it used to. I think about it more than I used to, when you're young, you don't, you think you're going to live forever. Death is not something you really consider that often. But anyways, back to the main point is, this guy saved the day, period.
I was, when I watched him take that shot, I was in awe.
Yeah.
I probably take him down.
Well, the beauty of it, and that's one of the things that I noticed too about it is, this guy's not doing it out of malice. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not shooting at this shooter like when the shooter went down, he didn't go up there and, put a bunch of bullets in him I mean, that to me, it's a slap in the face to people that call guns evil. We need to get rid of all guns are evil, da da da. To me, if you watch that video, as horrible as it is, you're just trying to be anti-gun if you say that video has, on the part of the guys that weren't, the innocents I'm talking about, to say that man did anything out of malice or out of anger or no, that man is strictly trying to save people's lives.
Right.
He does it quickly. He does it correctly. He does it with one shot. He doesn't spray bullets all over the place. He takes his firearm seriously. He's well trained, even at 71
Very
years
well
old.
trained.
The man knew exactly what to do. And if you want to say anything about, carrying a gun daily and those kind of things like that, definitely train. Shoot your gun. Be familiar with it. Walk yourself through scenarios in your mind. It's never going to go like you think it's going to go. That's a funny thing about, I've noticed that whenever I used to deer hunt whenever I was younger.
Unless you're Jack Wilson.
Well, you've trained over and over and over.
Yes. He trained for this and it went perfect. It went down absolutely perfect for him. Once he drew his weapon and fired on the...
Right. He was ready, obviously. I mean, you can tell from the skill that he used.
He dropped him. The dude dropped instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it went down. Other than, the two guys that were, the two victims that died, it went down perfectly.
Well,
But what I don't get is this guy's in a church. He's got a hood on. He's got a
I couldn't tell from the video what he
long
was wearing.
jacket.
Something.
He looked totally out of place. And I'm sure Jack had his eye on him. I'm sure a lot of people had their eye on him. And I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, in hindsight's always 20/20.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's easy now that it's over with. But, there's a lot of things going to play. When you're in a church, I'm sure these people are thinking, well, we don't want to be stereotypical about it. We don't want to harass this man because he looks different. That guy's counting on that. Bad people like that guy like that, they're preying on the fact that you're wanting to be tolerant, that you're trying to live in a peaceful world. They need you to be that way in order for things like this to go down. And that's the thing about the world we live in. That's a good thing about social media and communications now in general, is that we're getting to where we can negate a lot of the bad things from happening like that because people are starting to be ready, like this guy. You know what I mean? It's not a happy ending because people lost their lives, but you got to admit, 35 years ago there wouldn't have been anybody carrying a gun in church.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless a sheriff's deputy or somebody like that was attending church and he just happened to be in uniform. No, I mean, that would have never happened. So we've had these people preying on people in these situations, like going to schools and going to these places where they know people aren't going to be able to defend themselves because they're wanting to inflict harm, because they're bad, weird, messed up people. And they want to inflict as much harm as they can in as short amount of time as they can. And that's what I feel like when I think of Jack Wilson being a hero, that in that instance, that's what I think of is he stopped a man who had nothing but ill intent. He intended to end as many lives as quickly as he could. And this dude, I guarantee you, whenever the guy that came in there to kill people in that church, whenever he hit hell, he went, because that's the only time he had time to think, because he was dead instantly.
He was dead instantly.
I mean, this dude never even, like when I play video games and somebody shoots me when I'm not looking and I go, I'm sure that's what this dude did when he hit hell.
He had no time to react whatsoever.
Yeah. His body functions were ended immediately. It was awesome.
It's just, the bottom line is be ready, keep your head on a swivel. I don't care where you are. Be looking around. And if you see something odd, and if you don't see something odd, it doesn't, I mean, not every shooter is going to have a trench coat on.
Right.
With a gun hiding.
They're not all going to be Middle Eastern or anything that might be,
or
with
any specific color whatsoever.
Right.
but you got to be ready. And if you're in church and a guy walks in with a trench coat and a hood and a wig.
What did, yeah, he had the fake beard on or something like that, wasn't
Yeah, I
it?
think so. And I'm looking at a picture. This is the first time I've seen a picture of him.
Of the shooter?
Yeah, I usually wait a while before they get the real story. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you're just gonna read a
Right.
whole bunch of. So I usually wait. So this is the first time I've seen a picture of this guy, and
Well,
he looks like someone that needs to be needs to be watched. And I hate
well, but you
I hate
always,
saying that, but look at all the mass shooters in this country. Most of them. If you see a picture of them, you're like,
well, but you got to
not
think about it
every
like
one
this.
of them.
How many guys you see in a day that you go,
That's
that guy
true.
looks like a creep,
That's
and he
true.
never does anything.
That's true.
So it's easy. We're kind
You're
of,
right. You're right.
I tend to want an armchair quarterback too, because I'm like, how can you not see that? But in the moment, you got 1,000 things when you're on just like this story we're talking about, what it did was it woke me back up because I hadn't carried in a long time. You know what I mean? Because I haven't, I was going through this when I was carrying. It was back whenever you had to have a permit and all those things like that. And it had to be concealed. If you could see it, you get in trouble and all those kind of things like that. So it was like, I always thought of it as this huge hassle. I was like, oh man, carrying a gun into Walmart, they got metal detectors, da da da. You got to do this, you got to do that. So I'd gotten away from it a lot because of that. And then I go and I see like this video, and of all places, they're in church, and I go to plenty of places that would be a so-called soft target or whatever for somebody like that. But I'm always thinking, well, that's going to happen somewhere else, just like those people were thinking.
Right.
Now, they had thought, obviously, because they had a security force, that it was a possibility. My mom and dad, to the church they go to, my dad's on that. He carries in church. He's on their little security thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy to go, well, they're just being paranoid. Are they? We just saw that maybe they're not.
No one's ever being paranoid that just carries.
Right. And that's what I'm saying about you're talking
not the way
about
you
taking
gotta look
guns
at
out
it.
of people's hands, and I'm not trying to be political about it at all. I'm being like real worldly about it. And that's this dude that come in there to kill people, not Jack Wilson, the guy that took care of it. I'm talking about the bad guy.
Yeah. I won't say his name.
Yeah, I don't want to romanticize him at all. But that guy, I'm sure, didn't care about laws. Obviously, he doesn't care about whether or not you're supposed to have a gun and all those kind of things like that. That whenever you ban guns, it makes it to where it's even easier for these people to carry out their plans because there's nobody to stop them. They have no threat. That's why you don't see these guys like this shooter here. He didn't go to a police station and open fire on cops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't go to the FBI office and open fire on those people. You know why? He knows damn good and well there's guns everywhere.
When you're talking to the people, the anti-gun people, they're not going to listen to what you just said. They don't care.
Well, I know, but fortunately in this country we got enough people, hopefully, that are thinking
Even though you
clearly.
can show them proof.
Right.
They don't care. They're not going to listen to you.
I mean, but I would, and what I would say to him
one person said that he should have shot him in the leg or somewhere so that the police could have arrested him. That's what somebody posted on Facebook. Not my Facebook, but
so if this shooter would have got shot in the leg, what's he going to do? Keep shooting. Shoot the guy that's trying to stop him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yes.
And as far as getting in this man's mind and finding out why he's doing it, who cares?
Right.
Who gives a damn at this point why he's doing what he's doing? It's obvious this man's beyond help. He's willing to take lives.
And it's going to be hard to stop somebody from shooting at least a couple people if they have the same intent as this guy. Obviously.
Right.
Because you've got an expert marksman that took him out immediately.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
Still was able to, get a couple shots off and
and that's what this guy's hoping for. He's praying on that nobody's going to be ready. Nobody's going to think anything's going to happen. He's hoping that's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, that's why he don't go shoot cops. You know what I mean?
Right.
He don't go to the police
he
station.
knows they're going to shoot back.
He knows damn well they're going to be
going to make it.
Yeah, you whip out that shotgun in a police station, you're going to get shot by 10 people. So, I mean, it's a pretty cut and dry thing. And you can say what you will about,
you would think.
I'm raised in the South, blah, 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 whatever you want to think. But to me, it's almost, and and I don't say this about very many things, but in an instance like this, it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
like I said, and there's very few things, you know me well, there's very few things I won't argue about. But I mean,
Yes.
I've had time to think about this because I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whenever I heard about it happening and the story was starting to come out and that kind of thing, because it was slow. You know, it didn't hit every news station. Not that I saw. It wasn't like there was a shooting today. It was like there was little headlines here and there, like on the side of
Well, of course,
Facebook or
because it
something.
didn't fall into their agenda.
Yeah, if there had been 25 people gunned down in that church by a horrible gun, you know, then it would have been top
Right.
of the news deal. But and that's why I kept looking at it. I kept thinking, was this real or where did this happen? This happened in Australia or somewhere where they banned guns. You know what I mean?
No, it happened
And
in
it
White
happened.
Settlement, Texas.
That's what it was. I knew it was a weird name. Yeah. And see, to me, I mean, you're talking about a stone's throw, basically. I mean, we could get in the car now and be there, you know, before daylight.
Right. Oh, well, we'd be there in just a couple hours.
Yeah. So
Not even that.
and
Well, yeah, about a couple hours.
and that's what you're talking about. This is not somewhere in some foreign country. This is right here.
And
even
this
close
happened
to
in
us.
Texas, where it's well known that everybody carries a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, this dude that's doing this, and there's people out there. There's somebody alive right now that's got a mass shooting in mind.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There are people that are planning bad things. I'm sorry. I mean, there is. So
Jack Wilson, man, props to him.
he's the man
He is the man.
in that particular time and situation.
When
for
I was
sure.
telling you about it, I think it was before you watched the video. When I was telling you about it, I couldn't express to you in words, and I still can't, of how awesome his shot was. I mean, you know, I've trained in weapons, and you've trained in weapons, and it's so you and I both know how hard of a shot that was.
Yeah. Not to mention in the heat of the moment where he
Right.
just watched
And I've never
this
been in
man.
that situation.
He just watched this man kill two people.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, can you imagine the panic?
And there was people in between him
Right.
that were getting up and screaming and all that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
telling
Everybody
you,
starts. Yeah, it's
I
just
can't explain
crazy.
it, how hard that shot was. And it was not hard for him.
Right.
It was not hard
You,
for him.
you know what the one of the coolest things about it too is when they're interviewing him when it's over with. I mean, he's like, okay, people are always one of two ways. They're either like, well, I've always been ready for this situation, da, da, da.
Right.
Or they're like, well, I just showed up and happened to be in the right place at the right time. But he's neither of those.
Right.
He is what you hope law enforcement people are.
Yes.
And that is very prepared. He's not surprised by the outcome because he's ready.
Right.
He's not glad that he killed somebody, and you know, he even said he didn't kill somebody, he killed evil. And it's a good way to look at it. You know, you don't want to carry around the thought you took somebody's life. This man, you know, had forfeited his life by being willing to take other people's lives for no reason. You know what I mean? This is horrible. So on that level, I like the way the guy answers questions about it. You know, whenever he's pressed about, well, you know, why did you do what you did, or you know, how do you, you know, does it bother you, or da 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 da? And this guy's
he almost spoke like he was the spokesman for the guy that did it. You know what I mean? Like for himself.
Yeah.
He was just like, all right.
Yeah, like
you
he's
know.
a police chief or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how he spoke.
And that's what you hope. I mean, to me, this guy is everything. If you were sitting here in your mind or writing down a scenario that was like this, if you were writing a movie script, you know what I mean? You couldn't have written it any better as far as
No. I told you that night. I said, listen, if I watched this movie before it happened, and you tell me some 71-year-old man is going to draw his weapon and take out this shooter while he's moving and drop him, shoot him in the head and drop him, I would have said, this movie's fake. Because, you know.
yeah,
and
another one of those 25 shots before reloading time things.
Right.
Give me a break.
And I'm not the best shot in the world. I'm not. And even
Me either.
And I would love to think, you know, that I, you know, would get lucky and hit the guy in the head.
Yeah, he's what you hope you could be in that in that spot. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said before, I could see myself in that situation, maybe 3 shots before the guy's dead. This guy did it in 1.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that. I hate to admit it because it means I haven't trained enough.
Well, I mean, but
and I haven't trained enough. No one has except Jack Wilson. This guy has.
Well, he's
holy moly.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough. It was the best shot I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely.
It was great.
He was definitely in the right place at the right time. He was the guy.
And I've trained with some really good shooters, and I would like to think that a couple of them could have made the same shot, But even they've told me, it's a lot different when you're getting shot at, or it's a lot different when they've got a weapon, So
yeah, it's like I said, we said it 2 or 3 times, but I'd say it again. I mean, that's how you hope. You would in my mind when I have trained with my guns, that's what I have in my mind.
The perfect scenario.
Yeah.
And if you made a movie about it and it went down that way, I'm gonna turn the movie off. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not watching this fake stuff anymore, man.
That's not real life.
He took 2 shots. In this situation, he at least took 2 shots. No.
Yeah.
He took 1 shot and dropped the guy. Usually when you shoot them, they still can get off a shot. Not this cat. This dude was dead before he hit the ground.
Well, you see these videos of shootings. Like I've seen some of these like highway patrols and that kind of thing like that. And people will grab their gun, grab for their gun or have a gun, turn around and you'll watch these guys that it's almost kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny, but and these guys are trying to fight for their lives. But they'll like run in a circle, out in the road, like, bang, 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 just shoot. And you see those and you're like, now that seems real. What I mean? Like I could see being that scared.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, it's
he
almost
dropped him.
Yeah. It's almost like
he gave 0 F's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Dropped him.
And that's what I love about his movements. It's real clean and
yes, dude, it was perfect.
Yeah. He's like, you done come to the wrong church.
Yep.
I've been training for this my whole life. Well, now at least one of the guys that he shot was carrying, right?
Yeah, he slowly pulled his weapon out. He was just being he was being way too slow. From what I remember. I only watched it 2 times, 3 times.
I watched it once, but I'm saying I read in one of the articles I read, it said that one of the guys that was killed was on the security thing that they had.
Yeah, he pulled his weapon, but he pulled it too slow, man. Way too slow. And
well, the guy's right on him and with a shotgun, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He walks up to the guy and says something to him, and I don't know. And the other guy, he must have said, "I'm about to kill everybody" or something. I don't know what he said.
No telling. Yeah.
But he started.
Thank God we'll never know.
And so, he got those 2 guys, and then Jack Wilson. Well,
this guy thought he was about to cause a lot of
he thought he was going to be all over the news for killing a whole church, but he was not, and so anyways, I was.
Well, this is one of those awesome stories where you're going to see a picture of that shooter. Yeah, they're going to throw a picture, but if you'll notice, his picture's in the middle of the article, way down there.
Yeah.
And the guy at the top of the article is not this mass shooter, so that the next guy coming in to do a shooting is going to go, I'm going to be famous for doing this,
Right.
No, the guy that took him out immediately is the guy who's up front, who should be.
Yeah.
This is like I said, everything about this story, it's unfortunate that it even happened, but I'm just saying, if it had to go down, you know what I mean? This is what you would say, people that advocate for you to be able to carry a weapon or to own a weapon even, this is what we're talking about. Right. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things you can go, look, dude, when we're saying we want guns for protection, hunting and all that stuff's great. But we're also talking about, I specifically, as a person, I don't hunt. You know what I mean? I'm not against hunting at all. I don't care. Hunt, whatever, do whatever. That's not my business. But what I'm saying is when I talk about guns, I need guns to protect myself. You know what I mean?
Family.
And I'm a big old strapping
and
guy
other people too, like
and
Jack
all that.
Wilson. You never know where you're going to be. Where they need somebody like you or
Yeah.
like Jack Wilson to take the guy out.
Yeah. I mean, I think about it when we go places, you go to a mall or any other number of things.
I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it right now. I mean, we did have the cleaning guy poke his head in the freaking door.
I was laughing one day.
Holy
Somebody
moly.
was saying they
It's
saw that picture of, where you had the picture posted of us whenever that guy walks in, that moment or whatever.
That's the moment too.
And we were like, and the look on my face is like, like we just got slipped up on. You know what I mean? He just caught us slipping.
Yes.
Because it scared the hell out of me. And and the only thing I was thinking was, Ben's got a gun, but he's not going for it. You know what I mean? I'm like, we must be okay.
Well, I knew I recognized the guy when I saw his face, but still, the initial him poking his head in, and he had that big smile on his face.
Well, imagine the helplessness you'd feel if you had no way.
Well,
if you look up and this guy's got a gun in his hand, you can tell he's going to do something with it.
Even though I have a weapon.
Yeah.
Even though I go nowhere without a weapon.
Well, his is in his hand.
His is in his hand.
In this story,
you're gonna feel helpless.
Unless you're Jack Wilson, you're like, you fucked up so bad. And he's thinking in his head. I'm sure he didn't have time to think. I mean, he's reacting. He's training.
No. Yeah, right. But I'm sure he was watching him too, because the guy, when he stood up, he just kind of leans over, or he kind of walks over to the guy. So Jack Wilson, being where he was at, I'm sure he was stationary.
What's this guy doing? Yeah.
Right. What's he doing? But he didn't get up and was like, he didn't make any sudden movements until it was too late.
Well, and nobody wants to go whipping your gun out and then some guy be asking for a Kleenex or something,
So Jack Wilson did exactly what he should have done.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. It's very sad that those two other guys, were shot, but he did exactly what he should have done at the exact right moment.
Yeah.
I mean, he even said he didn't have the only clear shot he had was because there's people in between him. The only clear shot he had was the guy's head. And I'm going to tell you, in most situations, that guy is going to kill a couple more people.
Oh, yeah.
Even with a guy, any other not a Jack Wilson, of course.
Right.
But any other, regular,
if you don't shut his computer down
you gotta
immediately.
shut his computer down.
Yeah.
And when he shot him in the head, when he shot him in the head, it ended it all.
Yeah.
It was, we've said it a million times, or I have.
Well, but it's
the perfect shot, man.
Yeah. Every time I think about
Jack Wilson.
Yeah.
I would love to have him on the show.
Oh, God.
I don't know what I would say. He don't live very far from us.
Well, but I mean, that's probably something he don't want to, relive over and over. I would
wouldn't
assume.
want to
Maybe
relive
not.
it.
I don't know, but
I wouldn't want to relive it. I just want have him on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about anything else.
Well, the importance of training, if nothing else.
Yes,
exactly. There's a couple of people that we're going to have on that's one of the things that I want to talk about with them is, people like Tracy Allen, guys like that are really well trained. They've been through numerous training. They're military guys, all down the line of these things that I would like to talk to them about, specifically for the fact that to reiterate how you and I both feel about firearms. And I remember a conversation we had whenever they were first talking about constitutional carry, and you were like, it seems like if they're going to be able to carry, just anybody can carry, then they need to be trained on how to use their gun instead of somebody just carrying around, granddad's old Colt, cap and ball Colt, and, shooting somebody in the leg when they don't mean to and all that kind of thing like that. So the importance of training, and this guy shows it. I mean, if you'd have been just somebody who had never shot your gun and you peel that gun out and go to spraying bullets around.
Maybe some innocent people would have died, or that guy would have got more shots off. He'd have killed more people. People don't understand how awesome of a shot that was.
Well, and that's, the beauty of it is, and I've heard this said before and it made sense to me, is that, in a high stress situation, you're always going to fall back to your lowest level of training. You know what I mean? And whenever you're not thinking, when you're just reacting, you're going to react to the lowest level that you had of your training. You know what I mean?
Right.
So training at a high level, like a lot of guys, and this guy obviously, I mean, for much of his life, has been training, shooting. He knew his weapon well. He knew what to do. He was, in these scenarios, he knew, he didn't hesitate.
No,
Not in a fear way,
spot on.
Those things are important. And we know plenty of people, you and I both, who would have been good in that spot,
It was fantastic.
Awesome. We've beat the crap out of that now.
Yeah,
but
we have. And I can cut some of it out. Some of mine over and over and over.
Well, I did the same thing, but I mean, I feel strongly about it, man. That's why it was one thing I did want, even though I don't like to bring up, I don't want to, I'm always thinking that people are going to try to label us. I hate it, dude. The thought of being labeled as, well, that's just a podcast for right-wing conservative, I don't want that. Not that I want to be seen as left, or I'm not saying that. I just don't want to be, I don't want to be typecast. You know what I mean? I don't like getting pigeonholed. I don't like for people to go, well, this guy's this, and you just get cast aside. That's why I like people not knowing what I'm going to say, because I could be anything. I have a lot of opinions about things, and they might not match up with a right wing, or they might not match up with the left wing. I find myself a lot of times in the middle of those two things because I can see points on, and in this instance, it's clear cut for me.
Right.
And I don't say that about very many things, like I said earlier. So, I don't mind talking about this because this is like one of those things where you can't say it's an awesome thing because 2 people died, and I don't care about the shooter. Who gives a damn about him dying?
It was an awesome shot.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you go, in life, some things work out. You know what I mean? I mean, not always, but in some instances they do. Too bad that man wasn't around whenever these other numerous, mass shootings have happened. A man as well trained as him, go in there and handle that situation immediately, take care of it like that. It just goes to show you that it can be done.
Right.
That these situations can work out if people will be open-minded enough to go and look at like guns as an inescapable part of life now. You know what I mean? It's like smartphones or anything like that. Dude, we're not going to go back to where there's no guns. Not unless there's some sort of catastrophic, natural disaster that ends up killing most all people, and then those people left run out of bullets, and they can't make any more or something. But barring something elaborate like that, they're going to be a part of life. I don't give a damn if you ban them or not. I mean, there's too many uses on too many levels for a human being to ever go back. I hate to compare it to a phone because that's not really accurate, but anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That was my point of wanting to talk about it. I mean, you were wanting to talk about it, and I agree. Our reasons are a little bit different, but I'm in line with your reason for talking about it. But I'm always worried people can go, oh, okay, these guys are just right-wing guys. All they're going to talk about is Trump and Jesus and, you know what I mean, and all that kind of thing.
Well,
like
we've never
that.
really talked about Trump.
No, and I don't like to. You know what I'm saying? Not Trump. I'm talking about, I don't want to talk about Pelosi. I don't want to talk about Trump. That stuff's easy. You know what I mean? Anybody can sit around and talk about that. Well, this person's stupid, or that's stupid what they said.
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
Well, what we say is not going to change anybody's mind.
Right.
Even about the guns. I know we talked about the guns in length, about this whole situation. It's not going to change some anti-guns.
But there's going to be people out there,
mind.
though, that is always like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this gun thing. And then whenever you go, wow, that ended what would have been a horrible situation.
They would just say, well, we just need more cops in church.
Well, maybe, I'm not saying not to do that. I don't know. I mean, as far as...
Well, they're not going to say...
There's a million
we need
answers.
more good guys with guns. They're not going to say that.
Right.
They're just going to say we need more. I'm guessing.
But, I mean, if you can get a conversation going with someone to go, well, I can acknowledge that firearms are a part of life, especially in America. They're a part of life. Bad guys are going to have them no matter what laws you make. You know what I mean? They have illegal guns right now as we speak.
And really any opinions that we have on Pelosi or any
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with it. We're talking about life here. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Not political affiliation.
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
And we're not changing anybody's mind in that aspect anyway, so
right.
we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, screaming and hollering about that does the opposite, it seems like to me.
I don't even watch the news.
I don't
I kind of know what's going on, but I don't even watch the news. Speaking of news, Ed, his 30-day ban on Facebook is up.
I saw that.
Okay. You saw what he said too, right? I showed you what he had got banned for.
Oh yeah. But I thought you meant about his first post back. He's out of Facebook jail.
Oh yeah, he's out of Facebook jail. So welcome back, Ed.
Yeah, Ed.
So glad to have you out, man.
Heck yeah.
I
Maybe
tried to
they'll
go
leave
see
you
him
alone.
a couple times. I tried to put some money on his books, but they wouldn't let me, man. He was out.
Really?
Yeah, he was out.
Jeez.
He could still see the posts and stuff, though. So he had a window. He had a window.
Just no way to express himself
At first, I don't think he could see anything.
on social media.
Yeah, but the second of, but I think after, I don't know how it went down, but I think eventually he could. Yeah, because he was sending me messages. He was like, "Hey, on that one post, that is so awesome," or whatever, So he had a window. He could look out. He was watching us all play, And
It'd be funny if he wanted you to post something and be like, "Hey, get on this post and say this, this, and this."
Oh,
Then you'd be transferring contraband back and forth. You know,
right,
what I
and
mean?
I ain't doing that. Sorry, Ed. My freedom is worth too much, man.
Got to have my Facebook freedom, man.
They did send me a couple pictures and stuff that I thought were really funny, and I was wanting to post, and I may have posted one of them. I'm not sure. One of them, I waited for him to get out, and he posted it. It was I won't say, but I want to talk about our Facebook group a little bit. I want to touch base on that.
We've been talking about it in private, you and I.
We have
for a while.
And we're not real sure.
Well, my train of thought is, and I don't mean to cut you off.
It was a long pause, and I'm glad you did because I wasn't sure where I was going.
Well, where I'm going with it is,
I'm looking at this other thing I want to talk about on Facebook, and it threw me off. There's
well,
the train again.
I've got two ways of thinking about it. We were talking about this earlier, and I'm just going to say it again for people that might be listening or watching. There's two ways of thinking about this group. And, in its inception, whenever you first brought it up to me, you're like, hey, we need to, this will be a good group for discussion. We can talk about the podcast. And those ideas all sounded awesome to me because it opens dialogue between you and I and people that are listening or watching. And that's one of the things that I love about it, man. When I talk to people that say they listen to it or whatever, and if we can strike up a conversation about something that we talked about on the podcast, be it funny or serious or whatever it is we're talking about, it's awesome because it gets me talking to people. I learn stuff from people, man. That's why I like watching podcasts and paying attention to what people say, because somebody will, having fresh ears or fresh eyes will take me in a direction that I didn't think about before. Not that I'm too easily led. I don't just go around believing everything that I hear, and I don't take everybody's opinion
it's not
for
that you
something.
believe it, but you at least travel down that road a little ways and try to see where they're coming from.
It opens my mind, and I like to have an open mind about things. I damn sure haven't thought of everything, and I don't know everything. I can be pretty dense a lot of times. So, that part of it's always been cool to me. That was one of the things when I first ever started thinking about a podcast before you even talked to me about one, was I wanted to be able to have the freedom to speak and be heard, but I wanted to interact with people that cared about what I cared about or what I talked about, and they're interested in having some dialogue about whatever it was that we're talking about at the time. And so that group sounded awesome. I was like, I didn't even have Facebook at the time. I was like,
Right.
but then I was like, and
I
of course,
kept on you.
Yeah, and you were like, you need to get a Facebook so we can talk about it.
So we can get this group going.
It's going to be awesome, and I was with it and still am. I don't see it as a bad thing. The thing that's on my mind, though, and this is where I'm kind of on this dual road, is there's a certain thread that's kind of running through it, and it's not unfounded. You and I we're humor-led people. I mean, I feel like we have good senses of humor. Maybe not to a lot of people, but to us, we're funny. The things that you or I say back and forth is funny. The way we think about things is funny. A lot of humor involved, even when nobody's listening. Even whenever it's just me and you talk, we laugh about what each other says.
Real funny stuff comes out.
And that's where our friendship started from, is from this dude just said something hilarious. I want to talk to this dude again about that. And on that end of it, dude, I'm for humor. I love it. It's a huge part of my life, as big as music almost, as far as how my mind works or whatever. So I'd say humor is probably bigger than music in my head, as far as the way my brain rolls around, that kind of thing. So I was glad to see humor get infused into the group. There's plenty of funny things on there. And dude, I laugh. I don't always, some of the things I may not like because I'm laughing as I'm scrolling or something like that, and I don't get a chance to click, or I don't think about it or something. 'Cause that happens to me just like it does anybody else. You got this huge influx of information, so you're just kind of going, oh God, it's hilarious, and you'll go on to the next thing or whatever. But then there's also been some things in there that are crossing the line's not necessarily a good way to say it. It's almost like it takes the group in a different direction than I had envisioned it going.
Both of us.
Yeah. I mean,
envisioned.
there's some. I like intelligent dialogue. Not to say everything's got to be boring.
You're saying I, but you mean we.
Well, I don't want to speak for you. I'm not
you
trying to
can.
sit here and go, well, let me tell you what me and Ben think about this, because you
Well,
got your own opinion about
I know
stuff.
that, but this is our podcast and this is our group.
Yeah.
And we both have a vision for it.
Yeah, and I know you do, and I do too. When we're talking about things, we want to try to talk intelligently. We don't always, but we like to talk. Even when we're talking about funny stuff, when we're saying dumb, stupid shit and trying to be funny, we still want to have some thought behind it. We still want to have some intelligence about it. If we have an opinion, we both try to be somewhat knowledgeable about what we're saying. We try not to just throw opinions out there just because of somebody else said something or whatever. We try to learn about what we, are talking about. So on that end of it, some of the posts, and I'm not shaking my finger at nobody. I'm not trying to say, we know better and you don't. It's just that, even sexual humor, I guess, on levels is funny. The 12-year-old boy in me will laugh about it. But some of these things, that are just, it's hard to explain without alienating anybody. And I'm not pointing this at any one person. I mean, it's not like, one person posts, I'm like, oh my God, here's this dude or this chick again. And they're posting this horrible thing. It's not like that, but it's like, the direction sometimes gets headed in, you see these post after post after post, and some of them are funny and some of them are, I guess you'd say, raunchy or whatever you want to say, but then it starts to lean towards just trying to be as offensive as possible. And what I mean by that is not politically or anything, just trying to be as nasty as you can be to try to be funny. And as much as I can enjoy humor like that sometimes, man, I laugh about some stuff. And not to say people are, it's Facebook. You can post whatever you want to. That's your luxury or whatever. But as far as the direction of the group, it's not bad. I'm not saying the group's a loss and like, oh my God, it sucks, we're shutting it down, this is stupid. Not that, but I would just like to see it lean a little bit back towards maybe some awareness. And dude, that sounds like I'm being like a protester, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying about anything, just like we're talking about firearms training. You know what I mean? Not to say it needs to be a bunch of posts about that and that nobody can be funny. There's plenty of funny things on that thing. I laugh at them myself.
Right.
Hard in front of people because I don't even mean to, and it sneaks up on me and people will post something funny. And I appreciate every single member of that group because it means that somebody is interested enough, even if they were invited, they don't have to be in the group. You know what I mean? They could skip on and go on to something else. They don't have to deal with our bullshit. But they take enough time to contribute to the group, to post things. I don't post much on there. If I do, it's usually something I'm trying to be a little bit proactive about something or something, trying to say something. And I appreciate these people. I'm starting to get into where I'm sounding like I'm preaching at somebody, and I don't mean to. I'm just saying I'm glad that people are in the group. The group is way bigger, way faster than you or I, either one, thought it would be.
Yes.
You're like, we're kind of riding this wave of like, damn, we didn't know that this many people would care. And I feel like that some of the people that are members of that group are an outside, they're just like, they think it's a group to just get into to put raunchy shit in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and that's where I'm on this dual road of it is a place for humor. I do have a place in my mind, and I do like to see a lot of things in that group in my feed. When I'm going down through there, I'm glad there's people I know, people I don't know that post hilarious things. And some of them are sexual in nature, and I think they're funny.
Right.
And I'm not saying to not post, I'm not trying to alienate somebody in this group. I'm just saying we had envisioned it being maybe a little more discussion oriented, or maybe a little more, some back and forth about something we talked about on the podcast. I have a feeling that there's a large number of people that are putting stuff on that group that have never listened to it.
Right.
Unfortunately. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you have to spend your life doing it. These episodes are long. They get boring to everybody. I get it. We get started on shit and we don't know when to shut up and that kind of thing like
No,
that.
we don't.
And, on that end, I'm not saying somebody needs to listen to every minute of it, but what in our minds in this beginning, we were wanting to talk about, and this is kind of how you brought it up to me in the beginning, is we can answer questions. If we're talking about something in this podcast and we ask a question, somebody out there, what do you think about this, or da 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 da, we're hoping for some feedback. And the best place to do that, most directly to me, is going to be in that group. It's all people that has to do with the podcast. So
Yes.
they hopefully have listened to some of it, or have a question whenever they say, well, I was wondering about this. Well, then somebody else can go, damn, I'm glad they said that because I was wondering about that.
Right.
Not to say that we're going to have some kind of wealth of knowledge to lay on you, but at least, we can talk about some stuff. Or if we've got an opinion about something or some philosophical thing that I get ranting on, like I'm doing right now, where I'm like, well, my thoughts were this, and they may not be rooted in any sort of intelligence whatsoever. It may just be my own personal opinion or something, but I was hoping for some dialogue back and forth where somebody could go, well, man, I know that you feel this way, but, what about this? Or have you thought about it from this direction? Or, one time, I ate some bad Taco Bell and I shit my pants one time. You know what I mean? There's any number of things that we could share back and forth. And I've had people message me about it and I've laughed and those kind of things like that. But that's what I was hoping the group would be. Not totally. Not to say there's
Right.
no room for posting funny stuff. And please, you know what I mean? If you see something funny that you think is funny,
Keep on posting it.
throw it in there, But from the standpoint of just trying to see who can be the most outrageous, to me, and I don't want to run anybody off, but to me, you're kind of getting away from the point of this whole thing. And the point of it,
They may not have known the point. You know
right?
what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. There's people that haven't listened to podcasts, and I'm hoping that people that do listen to it maybe would say, "Hey, well, you need to check out this podcast. Listen to it and see how these guys are." This group is not just a meme group to find the worst shit you can find and plant it on here. You know what I mean? Because not everybody can see it. There again, it's one of those where I'm on both roads, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I've been thinking this for a while,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want to say
Yeah, because
anything.
you haven't even said anything to me really about it until
Right.
recently.
And because I was,
And we feel the same way. Your thoughts on it were the same as mine. I was just kind of hoping, every once in a while I'll plug some of our stuff in there, and of course we need to get more episodes going.
Right.
We need to get more content out.
That's
so I wanted to plug a whole lot of stuff in there, and then hopefully the people that are, it'll curb that, so it'll sway it back into the, like you said, we don't want the whole thing to be just about, us.
Right.
Or our podcasts or whatever,
or active,
but
active.
But a lot of discussion would be, or some discussion would be great. But the funny memes, I have no issue with those whatsoever.
Yeah, me either. And I don't mean to point. That's what I've
No, right.
I have a hard time articulating because I'm like,
Well, we even talked about like where do we cut it off at? If we were going to say something, where are we going to say, well, okay, how are we going to gauge what is and what isn't, good for the group? And we were just kind of hoping that it would be self-policed. So, people that are in the group would just be like, okay, probably I don't need to post, because I've had several people in public, like high school basketball games and place where I get my hair cut, and they are like, dude, what is up with your group?
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're like, you got to do something. You got to say something. You got to say something. And I'm like, well, I know, but I just don't know what to say, And they're like, well, it's your group. You do, you got to, and I'm like, I know, but I don't want I don't want to alienate anyone. And I don't want people to think, whoa, they're not fun anymore.
Yeah, this group sucks. These guys are griping,
so we
got to
stop
everything.
posting these funny memes. No, I have no issue with the funny memes.
Yeah, and that's what It's cool. It's cool on so many levels. Like my own dad. One day, this is hilarious to me. This has been Thanksgiving. Matter of fact, whenever my dad said this to me, we're all sitting around Thanksgiving, and I said something about the podcast. He knows we do the podcast and all that stuff like that, but this is how close attention that they pay to my life. You know what I'm saying? And my dad I said something about, I think I was talking about merchandise. I was like, I want to get some I don't drink coffee stuff made. And Dad goes, I don't drink coffee. Yeah. What is this? I don't drink coffee podcast. It's all over my Facebook. What is this? And I go, that's what do you mean? What is it? That's the podcast that me and Ben do. And he's like, why is it all over my Facebook? I said, that's a good thing. We want it to be a lot of places.
Yes.
But you're my father. I thought you were at least paying close enough attention to know what I'm doing. And that's a true story if I've ever told one. I was just like, because he's like, what is this? I don't drink. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? But anyway.
Well, the thing is with the group is, with Facebook groups is he was added by somebody.
Right.
And so he gets a 28-day free look. So, excuse me, he's not technically in the group, I'm guessing, but he gets that 20-day free look.
Yeah, because
if he likes or he can't comment, but if he has some sort of engagement, if he likes or smiley face or whatever, somebody's comment or a post or whatever, I think it'll give him a couple of extra free days to keep looking at the group. Mm-hmm. So when you go into the Facebook group and you see you and I can see both. We can see invited and members. But if you go into the Facebook group, you're going to see members. And you're going to scroll through the members and you're going to see people that you don't know and blah, 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 blah. But there are a lot of people that can still see your posts because they have been invited. So they get a certain amount of time and you're not going to see them in the group. And I think some people have come in there and thought that I don't know anybody in here. So I'm going to, I don't know. I'm guessing, but what I'm saying, so that's what happened with your dad. I'm sure was he's invited, and once you send that invite to somebody, they get a 20-day or 28-day free look.
Well, and seeing that was,
I've said that 4 times, but I just want to reiterate.
Well, that's one of the, just like my dad, for instance, and which my dad doesn't have a very good sense of humor at all. He's not somebody that was. So I never invited him for the simple fact of he wouldn't get anything out of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is way above and beyond him. He has no reason to be a member of it. But I thought it was awesome that inadvertently he's asking me, what the hell is this? It's everywhere. And you know what I mean? It kind of made me excited because, for one thing, it's good to know that this is an entertainment. It's a way to learn. It's a bunch of things kind of wrapped into one thing. And it's what I always envisioned it could be. This thing is as cool as I thought it was going to be, as far as something where you get to interact and you get to, speak your opinion and you get to think about things. This podcast alone has made me think about things in a direction. We've talked about it several times about a lot of different things. Where I go, wow, I never thought about it that way. Or, I get to kind of share if something's struck me new or, if something's so, there's so much exciting about it. It's kind of a small thing. I mean, it's kind of a big thing. The problem that we're having with the group, and it's not I hate to say that the group's a problem. It's not, but it's like, there's a side of it it's
Any understanding
turning.
person is going to know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's turning into something that we didn't necessarily intend.
So we're at the basketball game, and some friends of mine bring up the group, right? Well, the people around, they're not going to join the group. You know, they didn't tell me this, but in my mind, they're not going to join that group because of some of the stuff that this person's showing, which is fine. But I want everyone to be able to come in there and be able to stay in there. And there's going to be a lot of people that you and I know that are going to look at that and go, no, I can't do this because this person is posting, nasty stuff.
Right.
Some
Well,
very nasty stuff.
right.
And first of all, it's not where we wanted to go with the group. It's not what we wanted. Second of all, I don't want to push people out, especially people that listen to the podcast, out of the group because they don't want to see that stuff on their phone.
Well, and that's the thing is, this is where I'm struggling with it too, because people can tell by my language that I want to, and you do too. You've expressed this too. We want to keep this as real as possible. How we actually feel, how we actually talk, how, we want the whole point of the coolest thing about this is it's a real, it's a genuine platform. We're making it. That's what's awesome about it. The freedom of it is the cool part of being able to express yourself. And I get that. These memes and being funny and all those things. Dude, I 100% understand where it comes from. Trying to be funny. You want to entertain people. I thought this was funny. I thought everybody would think this was funny. I get where that comes from. And it's also, I curse a lot on this show, and it's not that it's just the way I talk. It's the honest way that I talk. So I don't see any reason to cut it out because, not that I'm going to go in front of somebody's grandma and start, cussing away. I know when to shut it off, but at the same time, I like to express myself that way. So, in this being our show or our podcast or whatever you want to say, I like being able to be legit, or I like to be real I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but at the same time, I want someone to get my real opinion on something, my real take. That's why we try not to talk about too much stuff before we start doing these, so that you're getting my honest reaction. I'm getting your honest reaction about stuff. The honesty of it is the beauty of it. That's the thing that draws me to it. Because if it was scripted and we were, it would just be a sitcom or something. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in that crap.
No.
So, to that end, when we're going through these memes and the stuff that ends up in the group, I don't want to go, you post that and you're going to get banned. You know what I mean? Because that's not our way. We're not that kind of person. We don't want to police it like that. I don't want to get on there and go, next person puts, naked body on here is banned or something. No, it's not what we're trying to say. What we are trying to say is we're trying to be, at least thoughtful in what we say and do. And we look forward to, or I know I specifically look forward to, someone's thoughtful reply or someone's thoughtful attention to what we're saying. Not that every word comes out of our mouth is trying to teach somebody something or that it's even intelligent, but I wish, or I hope that as we go forward, that there's more of that dialogue, more people, are in it to talk about what we talked about on the podcast or in a past podcast, or what they'd like to see us talk about, or any number of things. And you can throw your memes in there. That's not that, funny memes and that kind of stuff is awesome, but just, it's not, in my mind, it's not a group created to put the nastiest thing you can come up with.
Right.
These things that you're trying not to get banned from Facebook for. And I can't say anything because he's had his turn at it, but not from
not from
that kind of stuff. But that's what I'm saying is, it's comedy is good. Humor, awesome. Love it. Funny stuff. Even some things that are somewhat sexual in nature are funny sometimes to me, if I'm being honest,
I think it's funny to everybody, a lot of people.
Right. But whenever I can scroll through something and the image that I see is automatically like, dude,
Right.
Why would you do that? If you're putting it on the group and in your mind you're sitting there going, oh, this is going to piss people off. Well, then don't do it. That's pretty simple. This is going to, the pervs are going to love this one or something. I don't know how that kind of thought process goes, but if you're doing that, why? You know what I'm saying? We are funny. I say curse words. We think things are funny that people sometimes are like.
Are you saying you say cuss words and I don't?
Well, I tend to like throw them around a lot more. I'm not saying you don't, I'm not saying it's a thing to do. I'm not saying it's a way to talk.
You probably throw them around a lot more on the podcast, but maybe not in real life.
Well, we're pretty neck and neck in real life, yeah. But anyway,
I'm not pretending to be somebody I'm not.
No, and that's what I'm saying is that's the beauty. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, we want everybody to be who they are in there. We just hope that you can hide a little bit of that.
Well, if you're flipping through, if you're going back through the group and you're looking for that thing you posted on there with this evil grin on your face, and then you see it's gone, and what happened to it is we've deleted it, then maybe you should go, oosh, maybe I should think about the next thing I post on here. God, that sounds dickheaded. I don't want to, I'm not trying to say that there's no place for.
Even Facebook goes through there and deletes a lot of posts.
Yeah, that's right. We get some stuff where people.
I didn't appreciate that, but in the same.
Well, but you're on their platform. It's kind of one of them things. Well, create your own Facebook type thing if you,
Yeah.
I don't want to say that it's okay to censor people, but there's also a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean? And the podcast group is a time and a place for a lot of stuff.
Right.
Plenty of humor and those kind of things are appreciated. I laugh at them. And there's no telling how many funny things I could have seen if I had never said anything about this that won't make it on there now. But
I just didn't want a lot of people to leave thinking that, or when they get that free look, that 28-day free look, they're like, no, I'm not doing
this is terrible.
That's not what we want at all.
Right. And I appreciate the attention. It's cool that people, but I would like for people to understand what the podcast part of I Don't Drink Coffee podcast is.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day, we're talking about the content we put out, or, that was the focus of that group in the beginning was as a more direct line of dialogue between us and people that listen or watch or both or whatever that take in the content. So I'm hoping that people can be understanding and get it, you know what I mean, instead of being offended by it. If you are offended by it, then I probably won't know unless you message me and say you're an asshole, And in that case, I'm probably going to laugh just like you did. I'm going to laugh real hard and not care. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like this. Well, no one to tell you. Sorry. You're not the first person or the last one that's going to call me that. So
true.
But I do care. I want to be entertaining care. And
obviously we care because we haven't got on there and just dropped the hammer. It's like, come on.
Yeah, don't want to. I don't want to be. I don't want to lord over anybody.
And we want everyone to have a good time in there. But I never really thought I would be talking about our Facebook group on here. You know what I mean? It's like we're talking about a Facebook group and we have over 2,000 members and we have a good thing going. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I don't want to lose one person.
No, I don't either. Not even the people that are posting.
Well, that's what's unfortunate is I'm afraid that we're either not getting potential members or we're losing members because it's going too far in one direction.
Yes.
And
I agree.
Like I said, I enjoy a fart joke. I enjoy stuff like that every so often. I think it's funny. But you can, that's not what it's all about.
Right.
The group is not, it's not, how do I say this? I keep wanting to say this.
Well, I think we've explained it good enough.
Yeah,
if they don't have it by now, they're never going to get it.
Well, I'm wanting to try to make sure I cover what I mean, but I'm just saying the same thing different ways.
We're just trying not to be mean,
I don't want to be.
We're not being mean.
Yeah, who wants to be? The cool thing, I would love to have somebody on here, not to argue about in a heated, mad argument, but somebody that thinks a little bit differently about something. You know what I mean?
I really could go into a room of people and get along with everyone, no matter what
Yeah.
their beliefs or views are. I mean, that's just the way we are. You know,
Yeah.
we're not going to walk in the room and just start. You know what I mean?
Unless
In a
I get
real
in,
room.
unless I get in one of those moods like I've been in the last couple of weeks where I'm arguing no matter what you say.
You've been a little
If you
bit.
say
You've been a
something,
little.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to go
You, you
whatever
have
the opposite is. I'm going
you
to
have
say
been a
it.
little argumentative, especially when we play video games. And I was like, LJ's in a different mood, man. He's
Yeah.
been in a he's been in a little. I don't know what the. I don't
Yeah,
know
you'd be like, man, food is delicious. I'd be like, no, food's nasty.
That's exactly.
Why don't you leave food alone?
Yes.
Food's disgusting.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's pretty much how you've been.
Why are you
And
bringing
you've
up
never
food?
been that
Food's
way.
stupid. You know what I mean?
Never been that way.
Dude, I was just in a phone
You
from
need-
not doing
You
podcasts.
need your podcast fixed, man.
I told you when you brought it up, I was just like, I mean, I just was out of it. I was like,
well, we tried to
yes.
I tried to get that guest, you know, and I text him and
I'm excited about him. He knows who we're talking about. He's going to hear it.
oh yeah.
And he's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
know exactly who. And I'm very much looking forward to
Me too.
that guy being. I mean, we got several people that are, you know, we're going to have on, but that we already know we're going to have on. But I mean, and I'm excited about every one of them. But you know, I thought this was fixing to happen, and I was pretty hyped about it. You
Yeah.
know?
And there's some people out there that I think want to be on, but they're just waiting on us to get a hold of them, I guess. I don't know. I mean, let us know if you want to be on, but I'm going to tell you the same. Excuse me. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've told everybody else, that, you know, it's hard for us to get on a schedule.
I know.
At this point. In the future, yes, we're going to get on a schedule, or you know, we're going to get on somewhat of a schedule, and we're going to try to put out at least once a week. I would love to do more.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing.
And we've said this before, and we mean it.
Well,
We
the
do
schedule
mean
I'm
it.
on now, though, where I'm not on call 2 weeks in a row,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm every other week, it's a lot easier for me to schedule something once a week that way. Like on a Sunday, if we're going to do a podcast from, you know, it's nice if I have a time frame, you know, where I can go, hey, man, can you take call for me from 5 o'clock in the evening until 9 o'clock at night or something like that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I got to keep it tight to that. If I give him that time frame, you know, he's going to be my coworker is going to be listening for the phones and taking those calls if we get called out for me during that time.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, now before when I had 2 weeks on where I didn't want to be like, it seemed like every other day I'm like, hey, will you take call from me tonight from, you know, da-da-da. And then the next night, hey, will you take call from me from da-da-da? Because
Right.
that gets old to anybody.
Yeah.
Because we were both doing 2 weeks on and then a week off. So it was a lot of call. Whereas we're rotating now and it's a little bit easier. So 1 week I'm open. And then the next week I can go one night that week, go, hey man, you know, cause he does it for me. Like he did it back during ball season and stuff like that. I'd be like, man, I got a game tonight. You mind, you know, it starts at this time and I'll be back by this time. If you'll listen for the phones during that time, then, you know, I can do that now. So as long as the schedule stays like it is until I change jobs, I think we can get more back on a schedule doing it once a week.
So we're going to do more. We're going to do more. So stay with us. We're going to do more. Let's clean up the group a little bit.
So break it down for us.
Yeah. Let's get to it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah.
It's a picture of the homeless shelter downtown
In McAllister.
in McAllister. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in the picture. 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. There's a couple of SUVs and a lot of them are passenger vans. And it said passenger vans everywhere, must be time to go load up and take advantage of some more people who are down on their luck. I guess no one's going to do anything about this. And I, for one, believe that we need to do something about this.
Okay, but try to explain to people because I didn't understand it either about what
it is. It's
what
a
that
homeless
means.
shelter, and what they do is they import homeless people from all over the U.S. From what I get, I could be wrong. It may be just from certain states. I don't know. But they're bringing in homeless people from out of state, and they're dropping them off, basically. And then during the daytime, they're walking around McAllister like zombies. Or they're panhandling at Walmart. Or they're mowing lawns. So I mean, I'm just I don't really.
Well, if they're homeless and mowing lawns, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I mean,
Well,
what
suppose one guy said they're mowing lawns for, or one person, I don't remember if it was a guy or a girl, but one person said that they're mowing lawns, um, and pretending that they're a church. So I guess this homeless shelter says they're a church, but they're basically, from what I'm reading,
they're like a nonprofit or something like that. I mean,
this
where's their?
this
How are they
person.
taking advantage of the people? Is what I'm trying to understand. I mean, they're bringing in these homeless people and taking advantage of them. But I don't. I'm trying to. I'm. Is it because they're having them go around town panhandle and then bring the money back to the shelter and giving it to the shelter?
From what I'm reading, that's part of it. Yes.
And what are these people, these homeless people, getting in return? They get a place to stay, or I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, not arguing the thing at
No,
all.
I get it. And like I said, I don't know much about it. I just know that we have a large amount of homeless people in our town that is not from
They're basically
our area.
bringing them here and then turning them out during the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more people that, I mean, without being too judgmental or anything like that, I mean, you can tell they don't have anywhere to be. They're just kind of walking around. You'll see them at various parts of town. You see them all day long in different spots, and they're just kind of walking around.
It's not a good look, man, for our town.
Well, I mean, you don't know these people. You don't know where they've been, what they've been up to. It's more of that being vigilant type thing, and it's kind of almost, in my mind, adding a level of uncertainty about what's going on in McAllister. I mean, you think about it, McAllister's gotten to be, especially since I've lived here. I've lived here 3 years now, and there's a lot more like crime. I wouldn't say like. I mean, I remember there was a lot of house break-ins and things like that when I first moved up here.
Hmm.
And that's kind of slowed down. You'll kind of go through a little rash of it here and there. And I had a gun stolen out of my truck, because somebody left it unlocked, not me. And they stole one of my pistols that I kept in the truck. Somebody got in my vehicle. I had them get in my car, another car we had there. Um, I left one door unlocked. I forgot to lock I think it was the passenger rear door. And they got in there and went through all my crap. There wasn't anything there to get, but they did go through it. Um, we've had murders. It seems like a lot more, like murders and things like that going on. We just had a taxi driver killed. He's driving one of the taxis, giving free rides home on New Year's,
Yes.
and somebody shot and killed him.
Like at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I mean,
And there's no details on that, so I don't
yeah,
know
they're still
anything.
trying to figure it out. I'm just talking about crime in general, though.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like it's ramped up, and I don't want to say, I'm not trying to say anything negative about like the police or anything like that.
So you can look at the arrests, and they're making the arrests, but they're not getting
I always look at jailbirds, so
they're not
they're
getting
arresting
in,
a lot of people
yes, and they're not
in
getting
Pittsburgh
any
County.
jail time. It's a place like Hartshorn, man. Back in the day, you could go to Hartshorn. It's known like Hartshorn. You could go and just do whatever you want because no one is going to do anything to you. And that's how McAllister's becoming. And it's not because of the cops. It's the DAs and the judges. They're not dropping the hammer. Period.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we've made a lot of things misdemeanors now. And so I'm telling you, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Well,
It's not
and
going to get
that's
better. And so, this thing's been shared 288 times, and something like this sometimes will get the ball rolling in the right direction. More, more, I don't know. Uh,
it's like you said. I
it's
mean,
always good to draw attention to something like this that's not good for our city. I don't care.
well, I mean, you would expect it if you live in a place where there's a lot of people, like L.A. or a bigger city, Oklahoma City, maybe, or something like that. You could see uh, people that are down on their luck are going to gravitate to those places because there's more opportunities for whatever it is they might be looking for. If they're homeless, if they're trying to get, trying to get a leg up where where they're not homeless anymore, all the way down to if they're looking for dope or if they're looking for something to eat.
Right.
The more people around, the better chance there is they're going to find whatever it is they're looking for. So for them to come to a town of 18,000 people is unusual for the sheer number of people, homeless folks walking around the streets. It is huge. I mean, percentage-wise, we're probably up there, as far as in the United States, homeless people to residents or whatever you want to say. So it's definitely, and without being too judgmental about somebody, I know I keep saying that crap, but I mean, without just saying, well, that guy's a scumbag or whatever, it's a little bit off-putting. I mean, I have a young daughter that wants to play in my front yard and those kind of things like that. And so, yeah, and you do what you can in your community to make sure that, like if I see somebody driving through my neighborhood at 50 miles an hour because it's a curvy road and there's houses side by side down through there. And if I see somebody driving 50 mile an hour, and I've seen it, or even faster, drive through my neighborhood like that, I'm going to call the cops on them. And I'll tell them what vehicle it is. Am I an old woman? You can say that if you want to. I don't care what you say about it. But my kids throw footballs and they land out in the street. Mm-hmm. And somebody coming 50 mile an hour through my neighborhood will not see my kid in time.
I was that kid at one point.
Right.
I was that kid that was driving erratically when I shouldn't have been. And
you can't get people back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right. Whenever something like that from somebody being a kid, being careless, those kind of things like that. I mean, it's a part of life. It's like I say about kids are going to get hurt. It's not the getting hurt. It's what you could do on your end to help the situation, and you're not. Just like this. I mean, you're basically borrowing these people from another area and transplanting them in a small town in the middle of Oklahoma, or kind of off in the backside of Oklahoma, so to speak.
It's just very suspicious that there's a whole bunch of homeless people at a homeless shelter in McAlester, Oklahoma.
Well, I don't know, and I don't even know.
Not from the area.
Yeah, I don't understand why they do it either. I don't know what the thing is.
Something's got to be done. I don't appreciate it.
Well, what do you? I mean, like you talking about you want it shut down, or I mean,
hell yes.
I mean,
shut it down.
Well, I would at least like some clarification on why it's here. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's some sort of a thing where,
why else would it be here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, why do you think it's here? I don't understand.
Why else would it be here, though?
I don't know what the hell you're saying.
Why else would it be
I don't know why. What do you mean? Say what you mean, because I'm not following you.
Nothing good.
So I mean, I'm not trying to be argumentative. I know I have been for the last couple of weeks, but in this instance, I'm trying to understand.
Well, I have my own suspicions, but I don't really want to say them on the podcast until I find out for sure. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my thing. If it's some sort of nonprofit that just happens to be located in McAlester, and they are trying to find a place where they can operate, and they're legitimately like trying to help these guys find jobs, which is, I mean, there's a little bit of industry around McAlester. If they're trying to find them jobs, or they're trying to give them a place to take off from, but I don't see that. I see a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of men.
Yes.
A lot of men walking around this town that don't live here, and you can tell they aren't headed somewhere. They're just out walking around pilfering.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there you go. There you go.
But I mean, you were giving me
giving
me the squinty eyes a while ago about and I'm like, no, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But yes, yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, if it's just
they're not providing them jobs.
Well, I mean, if they're trying to find a place to keep them because nobody wants them, you know what I mean? That does need to happen.
McAlester don't want them.
Well, but I mean,
send them out.
I mean, for all you,
send them out.
The city had to give them permission.
Send them out. Change it. They got to go.
Well, you need to vote.
They got to go. I don't care who thinks I'm not being too judgmental. I don't care.
Well, I would definitely. It makes me kind of want to talk to the city council and find out what they're doing here. They ought to be a little more transparent.
You want to talk to the city council? Have you seen the other things that the city council has done in this town?
Well, I mean,
give me a damn break.
What I'm trying to say is what's the
if what listen, are we in this city? If it's not padding their personal pockets, and I didn't want to say all this on the podcast yet, but if it's not padding their personal pockets, they don't give a fuck.
Well,
And that will go on the podcast. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The first F-bomb Benny Klein is dropped, and it's staying.
well, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong in what you're saying. I am 100% agreeing with the vibe that is coming from a lot of these folks that I see coming that's walking around. They're scary looking.
But people are letting it go down. The citizens of McAllister are letting it happen, and all of it. Someone's got to do something, man. We got to.
I agree with you.
We got to change it. It's got to be changed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that this will at least get a discussion going. I'm sure there's people on other levels that are talking, and I mean, like you said, even on here, I mean, that many shares in this little town. I mean, there's a lot of people looking at that. A lot of people seeing it. A lot of people want to know what's going on. We're not the only people that noticed it. We're not the most observant people that's ever walked the earth.
If you have someone that's whatever, that's running for office in McAllister or any town, if you don't necessarily agree with their politics, then you probably shouldn't vote them in.
Well, and you know, now, and this is what I look at it like this too. It's a lot like how we parent our kids. I mean, you got to be willing to be that guy. I'm not saying don't, only vote if you're going to run for office. That's not what I mean to say. I'm just saying, something like this, we need to follow it. We need to
That's
keep
why
up.
I brought it up. I wanted, hopefully, maybe we can start some discussion, or somebody will start some discussion in the group, and we can.
I might start it.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if anybody else will talk about it or not. I don't know how many people in the group live in McAllister, but I mean, it's something that's happening in other places too. It's just like when Flip talks about those tent cities and all that stuff that's going on up there in Seattle. And
dude, this is what's happening. This is what's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing.
This is our own little tent city.
Yeah.
And just because they're not sitting in tents, under the freeways, guess what? This started out with like 15. And now look, there's like
I don't know how many.
17 vans sitting out front in this picture. And I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, but I do know they import them from all over the U.S., and they are walking around McAllister like zombies.
Yeah.
Something's got to be done.
I see them too.
So,
and I'll see the cops.
McAllister,
man.
Fix it. Oh, I'm sure the cops. I haven't talked to any cops. I don't really know any cops up here.
New Year's Eve.
But I'm sure they're sick of it too.
New Year's Eve, I saw a man and a woman walking down the street that I'd never seen before, but they definitely look like, I think they were headed probably to there's a little hotel over there that I think they were probably headed to maybe or something. I don't know where they were headed, but they were dressed in rag, which, I'm not ripping on people's clothes or anything like that, but you can tell they don't take care of themselves. They're walking down the street. They ain't, don't know what they're doing. And I saw a cop turn around, turn his lights on and go talk to him. And I got no issue with that.
Something people I'm passionate about, man, and I'm looking at it as a safety issue.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just about keeping McAllister clean per se.
My kids are involved. My kids see this. My kids are around, and man, we've got to do something about it. So clean it up. We're cleaning the group up. You clean up the city. Somebody do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
Well, that's I've been thinking about that too.
This used to be a furniture store.
We need to be more. You and I need to be a little more
aware in our city.
Yeah, we need to get involved. You know what I mean? I don't want my
aware.
name thrown around in politics, but
no, I don't want to be a politician either. I don't want to run for no.
But things like that, I want to know about. And you're right. And I haven't been paying attention to it. I've seen the people, but I didn't know about this thing. This thing you're talking about, this center where they're bringing these people in. I didn't realize that was
Somebody said basically a cult. The church travels all over the USA and finds homeless people and makes them panhandle and work and bring in so much money a day, or they threaten to kick them out away from their families or stranded somewhere they don't know and stuff. You have to read a whole bunch of the comments. All the info is there.
Well, I would like to talk to, the city had to have given them You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be able to move into that building unless they were okayed. So I'd be very curious as to why the city's all right with it. You know what I'm saying? I
Well,
mean,
look at some of the city members' politics and how they run stuff, and you'll know exactly why there's a homeless shelter in our
but
town.
that's what I'm saying.
Bringing homeless people from all over the damn country, walking around like zombies in McAllister.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at what you said.
Okay?
I'm just laughing at how you said it because you said it
How
three
many times have
times.
you and I have been serious and funny and all that at the same time? You
I'm
don't have to
sorry.
tell me that you're
Sorry.
sorry. You don't have to tell me
Well, I'm
that
not making light of it.
You're not
I
making.
agree
I
with
know
you.
you're not making light of it. You don't have to tell me that. I know this.
Well, other people might not because I'm sitting here with a smile on my face, but
That's true.
I agree with you.
I guess you got to tell the people.
Well, you know, but
I don't appreciate it at all. I don't. And obviously 286 people so far that shared this, or 288, sorry, that shared it, don't appreciate it either.
we both know there's double or triple of that didn't share it.
Exactly. Because I
Yeah.
didn't share it. I haven't shared it
I
yet.
haven't shared it.
I haven't really looked through it yet. I just saw it earlier right before we got here, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yes.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because it makes me want to get a little bit deeper and figure out just exactly what the hell's going on with it.
I am against McAllister bringing in a whole bunch of them from all over the country, and they walk around like zombies.
Well, it's definitely
Downtown.
throwing people that are in between. I guess you'd say like.
And I don't know how you gauge which ones, that are really trying to turn their life around, or some of them don't have the mental capacity. I get it.
Well, you're kind of throwing people right in the middle of
And I know
a town of people that have kids and neighborhoods,
Yes.
and we have.
Yes, I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, if we wanted all the ins and outs and the things that go along with big cities, we'd live in a big city.
I mean, McAllister was going to build a ball field, and they turned and they screwed the people out of that. The Choctaws were going to help get it going, and the Choctaws said, here's a grant, apply for this grant, and we're going to help. I'm just summarizing. And the city said, oh, we can write that grant. We're great at doing this. We'll do it. And so the people that were overseeing the ball field situation, trying to get a new ball field in McAllister, because we have thousands of people that come in for these ball tournaments, thousands that would bring a lot of money into McAllister. Well, somehow or another, that grant was spent on a freaking water pad.
Yeah. Splash pad,
and they completely lied to the people that were over the baseball or overseeing getting the baseball complex built. They completely lied. The city of McAllister lied to them and said, "Oh yeah, we're doing we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen." And then we got to write it in the budget or something. And so when it was written in the budget, it was written for the splash pad. And yes, I've been told word for word on what exactly happened. And no, I didn't just tell you word for word. Yeah, it was just summarizing, but I'm just telling you that's what happened.
we should get.
So the city of McAllister is making a lot of, and I know I have friends that are close to the situation, and I don't care. If I don't, if I don't think it's right, I'm going to tell you it's not right. And I don't know, of course I've been told the situation with the ball field. So I know that is not right.
Yeah.
But guess what? Nobody at the city really has any kids that are playing ball. And nobody from the city is really getting it, money in their pockets from people coming in to play ball.
Yeah, it's not bringing people into downtown,
It's
so
not
they're
bringing
not
people into
concerned with getting
downtown.
it. Yeah. Even though it would,
It
would bring to those eating places and shops and those kind of things would see money from people coming into town for those tournaments.
Exactly.
Because for all of its downtown McAllister starting to get a little bit of a name for a place to shop at these little independent shops. It's kind of cool, and that would carry on word of mouth, especially as these people come into town. Hey, while we're in town, let's run down to da and see what they got. Or I was wanting to pick up something from this place or that place. Or let's go eat at this little
place.
This
summer, you can go to the ball fields when we have a tournament. Go to the ball fields and see how many people are there. And at the same time, look at the ball fields
Yeah.
and see how crappy our ball fields are.
Yeah.
The ball field I played on when I was a kid in Wilburton. A kid in Wilburton back in the 80s is nicer than what we have right now.
But they took them serious over there, though. But yes.
In
And they should be taken seriously.
McAllister, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an issue with the way things are going in this town. But I'm not going to run for office or anything.
Well,
I'm not a politician.
We need to dig a little bit harder and see if we can find somebody closer to that situation that would be willing to get on and kind of tell us.
Well, we've talked to a couple
intelligently.
people.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right,
not
yes.
to say that what you weren't.
No.
We're saying what
It was
I'm
not
just saying
intelligently.
that was in
Right.
the conversation.
I
That
just
would be
summarized
very interesting.
What I was told.
I think it would
And
open
you were
some
right
eyes.
there with me when
Right.
we were being
Well,
told.
and you and I both know what we're talking about, but I'm
Yes.
just saying, you know, it would. I think it would open some eyes to some people and get people to care a little bit more about what was going on with that situation
I agree.
and how poorly it was handled.
Yes.
From a bunch of standpoints, you know what I mean, from several
Being
directions.
lied to by the city.
It was basically
is
dropped on purpose, you
on
know,
purpose.
and to me that ought to be should be a little more light shed on that, you know what I mean? Because that's one of those ugly things about politics that it shouldn't just happen. You know what I mean? It shouldn't that should just happen
well,
and
that's
we
just
went
the
on
way
with
it
life.
is in McAllister.
Yeah, that
because
sucks.
everybody's friends with each other and all that.
Yeah, we come from one of the towns, the biggest way, you know what I mean? Wilburton used to be horrible
Yes.
whenever I was a kid. You know what I mean? I went down there. I personally got had some community service one time, and it was signed off by a guy, and I literally did 1 hour. I had 200 hours, and I did 1 hour, and he signed off on it because of politics.
Because of politics, or just because you were a good kid?
Because this man that signed my work knew my family.
Oh.
And he said, here,
Well,
let me have that sheet. Signed his little signature on it. And I went on about my merry way.
You did not complain about it.
Well, I was young and, you know what I mean? And which,
well, yeah, right.
you know, I was like, oh,
get
yeah,
it,
I don't have
yeah.
to wash cop cars for 200 hours,
Right.
you know, or whatever it is they come up with. Yeah. Which, you know, that's the point. Believe me, that the whole deal got, you know, they made their point. But I'm just saying, you know, that was supposed to be part of my punishment that was negated. And that's what I mean about politics in small towns and that kind of thing like that. You know, this guy knows this guy knows this woman, da-da-da-da. Next thing you know, people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, or opportunities like this ball field come up where people put in work, where people, for no money, they're not being paid. All they're trying to do is better the community as a whole, because it's a pretty big sports oriented town. In my mind, it is. You're trying to help what would be the morale and that kind of thing around this town, and open up opportunities for all the businesses in this area in general. And they basically drop it because it doesn't directly affect something in the city, you know, a part of the city that they're financially connected to.
Right.
That sucks, man.
For real.
You know what I mean? That shouldn't happen.
Exactly.
You know, and no closer attention than I pay, which is not all that close, but just here and there I'll see something about, you know, well, such and such city councilman was asked if there's a conflict of interest about this or this or this or this, you know. And you can see that coming up in certain instances, because obviously if they didn't care about the city at all, they wouldn't be in the politics, right? You know what I'm saying? At least on some level. But in this instance, sometimes it's personal gain.
Right.
And that sucks. You know, I mean, just because you live in McAllister and you make money in the
that's
town.
what happens. That is what you get when you vote for your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what you get. That's what happens. And I'm not saying for your friends I'm saying for your friends that you know is all about
from high school or something like that.
Well, all about themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh yeah, I know that person. He's greedy and da 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 da. But go vote him in. You know.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's a culture too. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
So
you have to break a culture
well,
to
it
do
kind of goes
that.
back to when we had Adam on, and I laid it out. He's running for sheriff in Latimer County, and I laid it out. I let you know. Listen, I know that him and I are friends, but I also know he's an excellent cop, and he's excellent at what he does, and he cares deeply about Latimer County. I wanted to let you know that I wouldn't just tell you or ask you to vote for him, or I wouldn't vote for him myself if I didn't believe 100% in him and his ability to
What he would be doing with
right.
his time in
Right.
office. Yeah.
And a lot of people that, and it's not just McAllister, of course, a
Oh
lot
God,
of people
no.
that are in office everywhere around the country are in office just because of that. And so then all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, they don't care about the city. They're just caring about their pockets. And you're like, yeah, and you knew that beforehand. So why would you vote for this person?
Yeah. Well, that's taken, there's,
It's never going to change unless you do something to change it.
yeah, I mean,
It's like, come
I'm
on.
thinking of people, of myself, if I still lived in Wilburton, let's say, and somebody was running for city council and I knew him, let's say somebody I went to high school with, I'm like, I know this dude. He's a good dude. I knew him in high school. He's a good guy. I still know him out of high school. I like him, and he gets elected, and then he gets in there, and he's basically only pushing agendas that have to do with his part of, like, let's say, a business in town. I'd be pissed.
Pissed
I'd be
and
like, what? You know what I mean? I
exactly.
would be going to this dude and be like, man, this is not what we signed up for.
Right.
What you're doing is not right. I would do that. Now, I mean, what these people do, I'm not from McAllister, so, I mean, I can't speak for them. All I can say is, in my own opinion, if you ran for city council, let's say, and say you had like your insurance group and it's downtown, and the only thing you would vote for is new sidewalks and new flower beds and traffic lights for the block that your business was on, and we couldn't get anything else done, and every time somebody pushed something at you that was legitimately an opportunity for the city, and you're like, well, we were trying to get that done, but it didn't suit. It didn't suit what we were pushing for as much as the flower pots in front of my building. I'd be like, let me tell you something, Ben. This is not, you know what I mean? I would have to.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, man,
I
this is
know.
bullshit.
I
What you're
know.
doing. You wanna be on here next go around, then you need to shape up, because we're about the city, not about you.
You
Well,
know.
and two, now, to be fair, I think just from comments that I see, I guess I do pay closer attention than I really want to admit to myself. But like, whenever I read articles about these city council meetings, and I see some of the comments that the city council members are making, some of these people are trying to think things through, and some people are trying to look at these things objectively. They're trying to look at it, is this good for us as a whole, or in the future? And that's being responsible. I get that part of it.
Right.
There's not everybody on the city council sucks, in my opinion. There's a couple of people that are generally, they're from McAllister, they've always lived here, and they want to see this city do good.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility, in a state where the economy's not the greatest, and in an area of the state, damn sure, where the economy's not always the greatest, they're trying to make this town survive. They're trying to keep it in decent shape, and trying to make things more appealing to other people. But then, like you said, there are these bad apples in there that it is so obvious for a guy who's not from here, who doesn't know this guy personally, as far as, like, I mean, I might know him if I saw him, but I don't talk to him. I was like, hey, what's up, man? Or, I don't even know this dude or woman. And then you go, why is everything look so awesome where his business is? You know what I mean? But then everything else is like, it's either a no, or it's this, like they ended up doing with that Serotonin Club thing, where it's like they make it so damn elaborate, and they say things to them, making them think that they're trying to work toward it, and they have no intention of working toward it, and it falls, and you're just like, this is a no-brainer. We're sitting here, what about this doesn't smell good to you? and you're like, oh, it's directing attention away and money away from what you're trying to do with your little section of downtown. Well, 2 thumbs down. You know what I mean? That sucks to me. And people need to be thinking about that whenever it comes time. I don't even vote for city council. I don't even know. I'm not in on politics at all in this county, or have I been in my life? I'm voted for president a couple of times. Unfortunately, I hate to say for all the bitching I'm doing about politics, I'm not heavily involved in it. But I do have strong opinions about how people should be if they're in these positions, and, it's just like it's any position of authority. Damn it. You should be trying to do the best job you can. If you're in it for profit, then people are to sniff you out and send you packing. Yeah. Piss on you, you know? Anyways, sorry. I kind of took over your topic.
No, I was glad you did.
Well, I was sitting there trying to think about, while you were talking about it, I'm sitting here going,
he's right.
This is bugging me.
Yeah.
It's making sense to me.
Yeah.
This is pissing me off, and then I go into this tirade. But
and I don't know a lot about anything in particular. You know what I mean? I just know.
I don't know shit about shit. How about that?
Right. There you go. So.
Well, I would like if somebody's listening to this damn podcast and they have a thought about it, or they think we're dead wrong or stupid, or maybe right, or they agree, or they have questions that we could pass along, because we're not really fit to answer a lot of questions about it, but we can pass it along. We do know people that are very close to that situation.
Yes.
So it's possible for us to get answers, or to keep a line of questions alive long enough for somebody to get some answers, especially somebody from town, or if you live in another town and your town's similar to that and you're trying to figure out what to do about it or something like that. I would like to see that brought up in the Facebook group,
or if their town overcame something like this, and
or if we post something on any other platform and there's a way to comment or to message or anything like that. I welcome any sort of interaction with people that are paying attention to what the hell we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Because we are talking about it, so we're kind of leading the discussion, but I want to learn something from somebody. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about this stuff so that I figure something out, some way of thinking about it that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. And that comes from dialogue. It comes from people talking about it. So please, 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 it's very greatly appreciated if you're paying attention at all. Let us know that you're paying attention.
Yeah, do it in the group. That's what the group's for.
I would love it in the group, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you talk about something I would get into. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get on there and rant and rave or anything, which I might a little bit, but
that's fine though. It's part of it.
I would love to have a discussion, or we could all sit around and compliment each other. I don't care. Whatever. Or we can send, waves? Get you wave back and forth? We can sit there and wave back and forth for all I care. I don't care what we do in the comments. Just interact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let us know.
I'm gonna wave
What's
you
up? I think I already waved you first. And you have to either or both, financially invested or mentally invested in this town because you're from here and you want to see it do well or whatever.
I love downtown.
To be a city
looks
council,
great.
Yeah, it honestly does. I said that before. One time I may have said it to you. I was like, if they'd have tried to build that ball club downtown like a miniature brick town,
if there was room,
they would have had no damn problem.
None. But
Pushing
go ahead.
that through.
You were talking about to be a city councilman.
Oh, I'm just saying you want them to have some sort of vested interest in the town. That's why they're running for city council. But you want it to be straight up, not for personal gain, not just so you can fluff up your part of the world. You know what I mean? That sucks to me. So if you care about McAllister, if you love McAllister, I live here because that's where my kids are and where they want to be. So, and I don't hate McAllister. I don't mean to say that. I'm just saying I'm not originally from here, but I do live here, so I do care about what goes on.
And we're raising our kids here.
Yeah, and I don't like to see bullshit get to perpetuate itself, no matter where we're at or what we're talking about. I don't like it whenever people are crooked and they keep getting to be crooked and do things that are, self-profiting and that kind of thing like that irritates me when you're supposed to be in a position to serve people, because that's what you're doing as a city council person in McAllister.
They're serving their pockets, man.
Well, they're not supposed to be, and that irritates me. So and if you don't like it, put it in the comments and tell me why you don't like it.
Right. Below. Put them in the comments below.
Give it a like and a share and click the little bell icon or whatever they always say.
Thumbs down.
Wish I had more hands.
Hey, this was a great podcast, I think.
It's been good. It turned into a lot more of a soapbox than I thought it was going to.
But I think that's kind of good.
Yeah, we need to get. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we'll be funny some other time.
Well, we said some funny stuff, didn't we?
No, not really. No, yeah, well, I thought so. Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm.
It got me out of a bad mood, and that's what I'm talking about.
That's all that matters to me.
I don't give a damn if nobody watches this episode. It made me feel better. So piss on it.
Because I'm having to deal with you when we.
I'm so sorry.
Get online.
So sorry. I'm trying to do better. I'm doing better.
You
Damn
are.
It. Anyways.
You're already better.
Excuse me.
I had to give you a little clap.
Well,
we haven't even had an episode to talk about, since football ended. We even talked about our football season.
Oh man, you know what, dude? I hate to do this at the end. I may wait and do it at the beginning of the next one because I was wanting to talk about. You can cut this out if you want. About whenever I ran into one of the people that listened to the podcast at the rec, and they recognized me for the podcast. It's awesome. I don't want to put it at the end because if they don't listen all the way through, they won't never know. Damn it.
Well, they should listen to all the way to the end.
Well, but people don't. We go drone on and on and on, and people don't want to hear that shit for hours. You know what I mean?
So
I want to put it at the beginning of the next one. Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget to talk about it because I do appreciate this person because they did recognize me and they did compliment us on the podcast, and it was awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least one person's listening to us.
And I'm not against homeless people. I don't hate homeless people. I am against them walking around like zombies in McAllister.
I'm against it too. I'm
against it. And I don't.
Yeah, I don't like what's going on with them either. I didn't know all this stuff. This is all I got to learn all this crap.
A lot of people have these strong opinions. So how is it happening? You know what I mean?
Where is this stuff getting posted at? Is it like a city of McAllister?
Somebody shared it that I'm friends with, and I'm not friends with this person. I don't think.
So somebody took that picture and posted it to their personal Facebook account, or they posted it to a McAllister account.
Exactly, posted it to their Facebook account, just their their page, and it's gotten shared 288 times as of right now.
Well, maybe it needs to be posted to something like that then. Damn it, I'll do it.
Don't we post it in the group? Do we post it in the group?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
If it's shit we're talking about on the podcast, we damn sure. We need to wait till the podcast comes out though, because everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Okay. But I mean,
we need to hurry, and I know I'm putting pressure on you. I don't mean to, but this shit that we talked about just happened a couple of days ago, and it's gonna be old news.
I know.
If we don't,
yeah, I'll jump right on it. I'll start working on it.
I sound like I'm like trying to bitch, and you're the one doing all the work. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that.
Listen, I totally get it. At the same time,
all I'm doing is showing up and talking.
That's the guy that got killed in his taxi, the taxi driver.
That sucks, dude. What's his name?
His name is Dustin Parker.
Yeah,
and he does have a GoFundMe page, I believe. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm not sure.
Is it just called Dustin Parker GoFundMe?
It's a Parker Family Emergency Fund, and he's got. I think he left behind a wife and 4 kids, and they're asking for $50,000 in this GoFundMe. But as an insurance agent that also sells life insurance, and I'm not trying to
you can't afford to.
I'm not trying to plug my business or anything. I am telling you straight up facts, and anybody really knows this. But $50,000 is not near enough.
Well, it will never replace the guy.
Well, I'm not saying that. I know it. I'm not looking to replace the guy. But this poor family, 4 kids, and this poor guy, man.
Well, not to be Debbie Downer, but death is coming for us all. So you know what I mean?
Unless Jesus Christ comes back.
Well, I can't speak to that, but I will say
If he comes back before we die, then we don't go through it, right? Isn't that how it goes? We don't die.
That's the rumor.
Well, that's the gospel.
Anyways, I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with being prepared for something like that, even though it's unpleasant to think about, and I wouldn't dwell on it.
I hope he had some sort of life insurance policy in place.
I hope so too. I mean, I would think, I don't know. Who knows?
But anyways,
Unfortunate.
that's
terrible.
Another thing we didn't talk about, I want to talk about real quick. The Mannford Police Chief that got killed by his friend in Louisiana. And so far, and this was months ago,
right?
And I've been watching it closely, trying to figure out. And I initially said it right off the bat. I said, "Listen, we don't know all the details," because people are like, "I can't believe his own friend killed him." And I was like, we don't know the details. For all we know, they got drunk and
got in a fight and somebody shot somebody.
No shots were fired.
Oh,
so for all we know.
So this dude just ended up dead?
Well, somebody broke into the hotel room because they heard him fighting and screaming or whatever, I guess, and somebody broke into the hotel room, and the friend, who was also a cop, the investigator, and they were this close. They were best friends. He was sitting on top of him. And that's really the only details and facts that we know.
It's weird.
And the guy, the Mannford Police Chief, he died. But I've been following it closely because I'm trying to figure out what happened. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like two best friends in a hotel room, at a conference, at a homicide or how to treat or how to death scenes. So how to work a death scene.
It's odd. It's like some kind of weird
or something,
like Twilight Zone movie or something.
I know. It is weird. But I just saw that his wife, the guy that's in jail, his wife, needs money because his last paycheck is just happened or about to happen, and they have no money. And so she's like trying to get help. And, we don't know the details. And I'm not saying go help them. I'm just saying, and she even said it. I don't know the details. I don't know what happened. But I know that they loved each other. They were really close friends, and we just don't know what happened. So
it don't look good. I know that.
Well, no, I mean the guy died, but and he was charged with murder pretty close or pretty fast. Like the next day. So, and I don't think he's talking. I think he
bet he's talking to somebody.
Well, he's talking to his attorney. But I don't think he's talked to investigators. I think he pretty much said, that's the right thing to do, man. Huh. I mean, it is. It's the right thing to do. So anyways.
We did not talk about this dude enough, I don't think.
Dustin Parker?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, today around 6:30 a.m., what happened? Dustin Parker was shot and killed while on the job at Rover Taxi, which is a taxi service here in McAlester.
The electric taxi.
Yes. We're raising money to help his family make it through this time. Please consider giving what can to help with expenses related to this and help his wife and kids make it through this tragedy.
Well, there's no details on that either coming out, which I think is odd. It's strange that a man that, there again,
I don't know.
Outside looking in.
I mean, as a, you're working the scene. I can see he's there to pick somebody up. Somebody comes up from somewhere and shoots him. I mean, you're not going to know much just yet as a, law enforcement. All I know when I woke up is they had the dogs out and they're trying to track somebody.
Well, I'd just like to find out why he got shot. I mean, if he was like peddling drugs while he was, you know what I mean, or something like that, and somebody shot him and took his drugs. I'm not saying that he did. I don't mean to say that he's doing anything wrong. He might have been just an innocent bystander or something.
You automatically, try to wonder. You automatically go through a lot of different scenarios what it could be.
Right.
Same with the Mannford Police Chief. For all we know, he got combative with his friend, and his friend was just trying to hold him back from, hitting him and stuff like that. So, and it just got too much. Like he was probably on top of it. He was a big dude too. The guy that, that lived. He was a big dude from what I seen. So he may have accidentally smothered him, by trying to hold him back. I don't know, but of course you and that's what I've told people. I'm like, dude, don't think that, don't just assume.
Well, these guys are both trained in how to, handle people
but
hand to
when they're-
hand
but
and that
when
kind of
they're-
thing.
When they're slobbering drunk.
That's what I'm saying. And you got training in that way. You can be dangerous, and what you
Right.
think is just holding somebody,
Right.
especially drunk,
drunk,
and you don't realize
exactly.
how hard you're doing it. And
Yep.
that's why you don't want your cops to be drunk when they're on duty, because
Right.
they might do something with more force than they might do if they were sober. I mean, it impairs your judgment. So, I mean, to say what happened in that room is, I don't know. It's trippy.
Hopefully we'll find out at some point. Hopefully we'll find. But more so with Dustin Parker here.
More
because
crime in McAllister. That's the
this is
thing about
more
it.
crime in McAllister with Dustin Parker, the Rover taxi driver, and he, for all we know, he was getting. They were trying to steal some money from him or something.
Yeah, he might have got
I'm
robbed.
guessing that's got to be. If I had to guess and put my money on something, it was somebody trying to rob him. But it's a taxi service nowadays.
But why
man,
would you rob a taxi driver that's
what
giving
I'm
free rides?
That's what I'm saying. That's another thing that I don't know if we touch base or giving free rides. And
Yeah, for New Year's.
Listen, I don't believe in that either. And I hate to knock it, but if Lucas Johnson is going to the bar to get drunk, he better have a ride. And if it's a taxi service, then so be it.
But that's like asking people not to text and drive. They're never gonna not do it.
Well, I guess.
Your people are going to go out and party and not have a ride.
Period. I guess I was the designated driver enough, but I'm like, dude, don't call me.
Well, the main thing, well, that's what I'm saying is, though, the main thing is to keep them off the street. Whatever the circumstance is, the Highway Patrol, did you see the post from the Highway Patrol?
No deaths.
They worked no fatality accidents New Year's Eve.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Dude, I am for it. That's why I like self-driving cars.
Yeah, but
shit right there is why.
But you're for free taxi rides instead of just being responsible and have a ride.
Hell, I'm for whatever keeps people alive,
That's
dude,
true.
on that end of it.
That's true.
Free charge, whatever. I mean, I'll pay for somebody's taxi ride if it'll keep it from driving drunk.
I would just rather you would be, responsible.
But be real,
That's
though.
what I'm getting at.
Be realistic.
Well,
You know what I'm
how many
saying?
drunk people are going to call for a free taxi? Well, evidently a lot, because they said that they were
Hell
way
yeah.
behind.
Yes.
So I guess I stand corrected.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I
if
just would
you're
rather people be responsible.
if you're watching somebody walk out the door that's too drunk to drive, and you go, man, let me call you a taxi, it ain't gonna cost you nothing. They'll take you home. You don't have to drive. Now, if it's and I've heard people do it. I've watched people be like, I'm fine to drive and get mad about it or whatever. What are you gonna do? Call the cops is all you can do.
Right.
And because I don't care what you say, if somebody's trying to drive drunk and it gets them a DUI, now that's their own damn fault. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to keep people from killing innocent people because you're going out trying to have a good time on New Year's Eve. I know, because I went and picked my son up from a New Year's Eve party on New Year's Eve, and I'm driving around with my head on a swivel because I don't want some moron to hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I was young and stupid on New Year's Eve a long time ago. I was as young and as stupid as you can get. I drove drunk, I'm sure, on New Year's Eve. I can't think of a specific instance, but I'm sure I was stupid enough to do it. Because as a young child, I was a moron. Not very far from a moron now, but I know better than that. Anyways, I digress.
Dustin's wife, Regina, is a stay-at-home mom and has no income and can't work. The house needs some repairs and upkeep. She has a pile of medical bills, car payments, and more that she cannot afford. She would like to keep the house, but has no way to pay it. $50,000 may not be enough to right this wrong, and it's not. It's definitely not.
Oh.
But it's definitely a start, and definitely huge help. And so far, McAllister, I say McAllister, but I'm sure a lot of people from the area and beyond has come through and $36,405 has been raised so far.
Well, in the church world that I was raised in, there should some local churches should be kicking in, you know what I mean, collecting money on Sundays for these
Well,
people
I'm sure
and
that's a good idea, though.
asking, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they used to whenever I was young, churches done a lot of that stuff.
I didn't know Dustin Parker. He does look familiar,
Yeah, it kind of does to me too, but I don't know him.
but I don't know. I don't think I he looks like a good
Regular
kid.
person, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a good man. Anyways, Dustin Parker's Parker Family. It's called Parker Family Emergency Fund.
Well, hopefully they can help him. Hopefully they can do some stuff that will help not him but his family keep going without him. That's a lot of kids, man, be left with no dad
Yeah.
when he's out driving a taxi trying to make a living. Or that's the way it looks, anyways. I don't know how it is, but that's the way it looks.
Tabitha Wheat, she's a big follower. She loves us.
Thank you.
Shaffles are game changers. Thank you, Melanie Lauerman, for telling me about them. And someone says, "What is a shaffle?" Maybe it's a shuffle. It's like a cheese waffle, bread substitute. You ever heard of it?
Oh,
Is it
like
a
a
shuffle?
keto thing or something like that. I haven't heard of it, but
What the heck is a shot? It's like a cheese waffle. Can't go wrong with cheese.
heck no, I love cheese.
Ed's already posting. He's back to
course he
posting a
is.
bunch of stuff. I like it. I love you, Ed.
Yes, Ed is a huge supporter of the podcast.
Yep.
Much
he is.
appreciated. And a funny guy to add to.
He's hilarious and very, very intelligent
Yeah, very talented.
and a very talented artist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, we need to get him to start doing some of those cartoons with some of our clips.
I hit him up about it, but he never did really say if he would or could or.
Well, we probably have to kick
Dude.
in some green. If we kick in a little green, he'd probably get a little more into it.
Maybe.
Because ain't nobody doing them Theo Von deals for free, I bet you.
I just wanted to give a shout out to some people that show us some love. And Mike Manaski was one of them with Betty White. It's a meme with her face saying, "Still here, bitches."
That's funny.
I just wanted to touch base on, I just wanted to go through some of these. If I saw anything. I told you the breaking news about Jason Garrett. Not going to be a part of the organization moving forward. Not a big surprise, but I was kind of leaning towards they may give him another shot if they were in talks with him.
Nah,
I mean, what are the talks
man.
about?
Well, and you know, I thought because of Jerry Jones that they probably would, because Jerry Jones likes being able to tell him what to do and he does it.
Right.
But I was hoping not from a fan standpoint, because I'm ready for a change there. I think he's been given more than enough rope to hang himself with, so to speak. So, I think it's important for the fans that you get somebody else to blame shit on, because that's what we do with a head coach. Not saying Jason Garrett. I didn't hate Jason Garrett. I kind of liked his thought process behind his coaching, because I watched as a true Dallas fan, I've watched a lot of video of him talking to the team and talking to not just the media.
You throwing shade on me, saying I'm not a true Dallas fan?
Right. And
I love Tom Brady.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
like the Patriots. Don't even. Okay,
we won't
don't
get
even
into
trip.
it.
Okay. Anyways,
So you liked.
but I liked a lot of the things that Jason Garrett said as far as the culture he was trying to create in Dallas. But there were some things that I think, some coaching choices, not Chris Richard. Okay. I like him, actually. There was just some things that were obviously not working out. They've got plenty of talent on that team. It's not getting utilized in the way that it should. Maybe, a different offensive scheme. I don't really, I'm not an NFL coach. All I know is, as a fan watching the game and watching these super talented athletes not be able to put a game together.
Oh, it's very frustrating.
Yeah. And watching Garrett get out coached by other NFL coaches and that kind of thing like that. It's frustrating as a fan. So I'm hoping, even if it's just, Jerry Jones trying to keep the Dallas fans from abandoning ship. I don't care what his reasoning is. Get somebody else and let's try something a little bit different. Let's make it look different at least. I mean, and with the talent that he's had, including some of the coaches. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some things. There's been plenty of talent roll through that team that would have put them in contention for a Super Bowl. Tom Brady, for God's sake. Tony
best.
Romo alone was a championship quarterback. I'm sorry. Say whatever you want to. Go look at the record books if you don't like it.
I agree.
The stats don't lie.
I love
just
Tony
like baseball. Stats don't lie. Okay, for a losing football team, the man had a hell of a career. Set a lot of records, did a lot of things incredible. You can say he choked in playoffs if you want to, but this man had some incredible games and plays and a career as a whole. So there's been a lot of talent rolled through there, plenty of opportunities to have at least gone deep in the playoffs, win the NFC. There's been a lot of opportunity there that's been wasted because of the way that team's managed. It sucks. As a Dallas fan, a lifelong Dallas fan, it's bullshit.
So, a shuffle, cheese waffle. Okay, cool.
Could it be a chaffle?
Could be a chaffle, cheese, chaffle, chaffle, shaffle. I don't know, man. Can you make a ch sound with an A and a double F, L-E after that?
Chaffle?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is that correct? Is it legal to do that?
I have no idea. I don't speak English very well.
Same. All right, man.
Well,
we're gonna be back in a week.
Yeah,
maybe less than a week.
I want to plug, and for seriousness this time, I want to plug my YouTube channel. I've been posting videos to Facebook that came off my YouTube channel, and people think it's new content because they haven't went and looked at my damn YouTube page. That I put like 3 videos that are over a year old on Facebook just because I kind of wanted to see if anybody was going and looking. Now that one song.
How do they find your Facebook page?
My Facebook page?
I mean, your YouTube page. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It's late.
Hell, I don't know. Look for Lucas Johnson YouTube / Luke Combs or whatever it is.
No, it's not /. You just put in Lucas Johnson and then Luke Combs, all spaced out. You'll go right to your YouTube channel. Well, but anyways, that one song, what one song?
This one's for you.
Oh, okay.
It's, it's got like 3,000 something views or whatever. So I would look at some of the other songs on there, damn it, and listen to them and see. I'm fixing to post some more stuff too. So I'd like to get a few more subscribers. I've got a few. I've got like 60 something subscribers, 60, maybe I'm up to 72 now, 71, something like that. Cool. But anyway, I'd like to push it up a little bit more. Of course, I haven't put that many videos on. It's not like I think I've got like 8 videos on there or something like that. But I'm fixing to start working on putting out a little more music. I kind of got that thing with my voice solved a little bit. So now that that's getting better, I was having some trouble being able to sing. So now that I'm getting that kind of took care of, I'm going to put some new stuff on there and I want to push it a little bit harder. Anyways, that's my plug.
Awesome.
Oh, one more plug.
Ooh, you are limited to only one plug though.
Well, that was only half a plug. That was a real short plug. So all the other half of my plug, I want to plug.
What is going on here, people? This is not right. One plug per episode.
But we don't have a guest, so I'm doing the guest plug then. I have my cousins, Lonnie, Aaron, and Justin Warren. Okay, they live over around the Blanchard area, kind of be the biggest way to tell you where they live. And they have a band over around that area and around it. I think they play around Norman and some other places like that. Anyways, their band is called $98, and they just came out with a new video. It's called Neon Haze, and or I think it's Living in a Neon Haze or something like that. Anyways, cool song. It's about being on the road and that kind of stuff like that, playing music and musician life, that kind of thing. Very talented, super talented musicians, for real. They got a little band. They're brothers, like I said.
$1.98.
Yeah,
is the band
$1.98's
name.
the band name. Yeah, they've got a lot of music out and that kind of thing. They've been a band for years and years and years. But they're getting out a little bit more. Or I'm starting to hear about them more. Maybe it's because I got Facebook now or something like that. But
Probably.
my Aunt Anita's boys are who they are, and that's how I'm related to them, anyways. Cool if you like kind of red dirtish country, sort of. You know what I mean? Very talented though. These dudes are good musicians, all of them. So,
What's the song called? Neon Haze?
"Living in a Neon Haze," I believe, is the name of that
And
song.
what's their names again?
$1.98.
No.
It's Lonnie. Lonnie's the oldest one. Lonnie, Aaron, and Justin Warren. So pretty cool little band. I mean, I liked what I've listened to of them so far. So
Awesome. I'll have to go check them out.
they're not bad.
$1.98.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my last of my
Well, you just spent my plug.
guest
so
plug. All right, let's go.
I
See you
have no
later.
room for play. Hey, by the way, I'm going to start streaming a little bit of our gaming as well. So you'll be in there.
Oh God.
And some of my racing too. I'm going to get back into racing because I've got my simulator.
We
set up
all
Hey.
rag on you while you're racing when we're playing. Because everybody's like, why is Rammer on Gran Turismo? And I'm like, he's getting his miles in or whatever that means. Nobody knows what that means. You know what I mean? We don't have any idea. You always say that and we don't know what it means.
When you
so.
put 25 miles in a night, you get a free car.
Oh, God. I'll make sure and tell everybody that. And they're going to say just what I just said.
No, you shouldn't say anything, and let's find out who really listens.
Okay. All right. No, but they'll all be like, what the hell is he talking about? I'll be wanting to tell them.
Right. Well, I'm going to start gaming on this too, and the racing on this too, probably. Different game than Gran Turismo. Maybe some iRacing or Race Room or something.
And nobody's going to care.
Nobody cares. Yeah, y'all will, because y'all be like, where you at? Get online. Let's play. And I'll be like, I'm racing.
Well, me.
No, I'm going to, but anyways, what I was saying was we are plan on streaming some of our gaming. So, and we'll share it in there in the group, and hopefully we'll get some people that want to game with us.
Yeah.
Want to watch, I don't know.
Shout out to Goldie, Papa Oompa Loompa, Flip, Emaw. I haven't played with me Emaw in a while, but I'll shout out to him. He don't probably listen, but
You're missing one.
I don't even know who all I've said so far.
The one that doesn't speak English.
Josh Hawthorne?
No. No. La blah.
Oh yeah, well,
And Haunted.
He
And
doesn't.
Haunted.
He doesn't play with us as much as everybody else
No,
does,
he
though.
don't.
He's always doing his gunfight.
Josh
thing.
told me he was going to be on tonight too, but we got
Podcasted
here.
through it.
We got here. No, we talked through it, and then we podcasted. 'Cause we
Oh.
talked a long time before we.
Yeah, we
turned
always
it
do
on.
that.
That's what we always do.
I'm real late. I'm real sleepy.
All right.
You haven't plugged?
Oh,
Plug.
this episode is brought to you by Blackline Insurance Group. Visit blacklineinsuranceGroup.com for all of your insurance needs. Any kind of insurance, I can probably help you out. If you have any questions,
Phone insurance? Device insurance?
Yeah.
You can insure my phone?
Yes.
What the hell? Do I have to own it first?
Oh, see, that's a question I don't know. On this particular type of policy with this particular carrier that I have in mind, I'm not real sure, to be honest with you on that. But I'll get back to you.
If you can save me some money on phone insurance, I'll damn sure switch over. Okay?
I didn't know that's all it took.
I just thought of that right now.
But like I said before, if you have any questions, insurance related, you can ask. You can send me a message. You can email me. You can call and ask. I'm not going to try to hard sell you. I'm not going to be like, hey, but I would love to quote your insurance. And that's just being real. I would love to.
I need to let you
Not
quote
just
mine.
yours. Everyone that's listening and watching.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
All right.
But
Well,
I'm not going to be like one of those that's like, all All right, you're gonna let me quote your insurance, and I'm just gonna bug you. I'm not that type of person. So, anyways, Black Line Insurance Group, blacklineinsurancegroup.com.
All right. $1.98 and my YouTube channel, Lucas Johnson, Luke Combs, and then it'll pop up and then watch some videos and I'll post some more. Now that I've said it, I have to. Crap. Anyways, all right. Well, have a great day.
I Don't Drink Coffee podcast. Love your body.